Welcome back, Mavericks fans. Well, the Mavericks' 10-year quest to keep the Quakes winless continues tonight in day number 10. Mavericks have made it 9 consecutive wins over the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes last night with a 4-3 victory. Mavericks again came from behind to defeat Rancho Cucamonga, marking the 7th time in the last 8 games between the two teams that the Mavericks trailed at one point in a victory over Rancho Cucamonga. Well, tonight on this Friday, June 23rd, Mavericks at 41-33 overall, 2-2 in the second half. Take on Rancho once again. Rancho 33-41 overall, 1-3 in the second half. Throwing today for the Mavericks, right-hander Kyle Critt. He's 3-1 with a 4.02 ERA. He'll be countered by left-hander Micah Posey, who is 2-8 with a 4.35 earned run average. But first, we're going to have a performance of the national anthem by Susan McBride. So Susan is getting ready, and here we go. Tonight's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, who brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets that fell that our country came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Yeah, and that was Susan McBride with a performance of tonight's national anthem as the Mavericks continue their amazing run against Rancho Cucamonga. You remember last week the Mavericks swept all 7 games of a home-and-home series against the Quakes, and they continued that streak with a win yesterday. There was also a win coming up before the streak even started. So that makes it 9 consecutive wins over Rancho Cucamonga. The Mavericks also take a 9-game home winning streak into tonight's contest. The right-hander, Kyle Critt, taking the mound for High Desert. Chris really has emerged as a reliable starter in this rotation. And he has now worked into the 6th inning in each of his last 6 starts and is 3-1 over that time, even in his loss. And that was a game where he allowed 3 home runs with the Quakes back on May 24th. He still worked into the 8th inning in that game. Now in June, Kyle 2-0, a 2.19 ERA. Last time around, he picked up a victory over Rancho at the Epicenter, went 5 1/3 in that game, allowed 2 runs on 6 hits while striking out 4. Now Chris has really excelled while working from the stretch. He has limited opponents to a 2.24 average with runners in scoring position. And when there are 2 outs and runners in scoring position, opponents just 2 for 20 against him this year. Kyle has also been on the disabled list twice this year. He missed the first 2 weeks of the season with pneumonia, and then he spent 9 days on the shelf with loose bodies in his elbow. Had some excess stuff going around in that elbow. Felt sore warming up before his start on June 3rd. Now, meanwhile, he was a 34th round draft pick out of the University of California at Berkeley, and that makes him the lowest player drafted on this Mavericks squad. The next closest was Irving Falu, who was drafted in the 21st round back in 03. But Chris really making the most of his opportunities thus far. He was 9-3 last year. So this is somebody who knows how to win ball games. And he is a native of Granite Bay, California. That is a suburb of Sacramento. Well, he's going to be going up against this lineup for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, penned in by manager Bobby Mitchell. Leading off, center fielder Josh LeBlanc. He'll be followed by second baseman Nate Sutton. In the number 3 spot, third baseman Freddy Sandoval. He'll be followed by left fielder Pat Riley. Batting 5th, catcher Michael Collins. He's followed by designated hitter Cliff Remley. Batting 7th, shortstop Sean Rodriguez. In the number 8 spot, right fielder Drew Toussaint. And following Drew, first baseman Baltazar Lopez. Well, we're going to be getting away right on time here. 7:05 start, 95 degrees at start time. And this is a day that has kind of gotten a little bit muggier than it was when we first woke up. And it's partly overcast over the field now. Wind of 17 miles an hour out to left. Josh LeBlanc, the batter, standing in from the left side. Kyle Chris rears back. Here's the first pitch of this ball game. Ground ball to the right side. Broken bat, charging it is Sadolka. He goes to first. One pitch, one out here. The top of the first inning. LeBlanc retired on a bounce out. For the Mavericks, defensively, Lucas at third, Falu at short, Fedez at second base, Mike Sadolka over at first. An outfield of Tomlin in left, Enrico in center, Valentin in right. The battery today, Chris on the mound, Donahue behind the plate. The Mavericks' designated hitter today, Tommy Dueña. So both catchers of the Mavericks in use today. First pitch on the way to Nate Sutton, and that one misses low in the dirt, but count 1-0. Sutton, the Quakes' second baseman, 249 average, 2 home runs, 16 RBIs on the year. He is a native of Santa Cruz, California, so two Northern Californians facing off against each other. As Chris rears back, the 1-0 pitch on the way, and that one's a changeup for a strike on the outside corner, 1-1. Chris throws a fastball, a slider, an excellent curveball, and a changeup. And in watching a bullpen session earlier this week in Inland Empire, that curveball just keeps getting better and better with every outing. The 1-1, check swing on a changeup, that one in there for a strike, and Chris now out in front of 1-2 over Nate Sutton. No score, top of the first inning, just underway in Adelanto, California. Mavs choosing to go with their road red jerseys today. Chris shakes off a couple of signs, now rears back, the 1-2. That one's a two-seamer that just misses low. And the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Generally, the Mavericks with the white pinstripe pants and the white pinstripe tops that say Mavericks on them. But again, going with the red uniforms and red caps today. The 2-2. Called strike 3 on the inside corner. That was a two-seamer. Across the plate, and Sutton will head back to the Quakes dugout, bringing up Freddy Sandoval at the plate. Sandoval, the third baseman, batting .291 this year, 3 home runs, 23 RBIs. And this is a Rancho Cucamonga team that has lost 10 out of their last 11 games. They had one victory over the weekend against Lake Elsinore. Other than that, they lost last night and lost all 7 to the Mavericks last week. Really a tough stretch. The next pitch is in there for a strike, and the count now 0-1 on Sandoval. Sandoval coming up with his best work this year against the Mavs. 365 average, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs against High Desert. As the 0-1, a backdoor slider does not connect. And the count now evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Kyle really likes to work inside, and he is leading the Mavericks in the dubious distinction of hit batsmen. The 1-1 misses away, and the count now 2 balls and a strike. Chris on the year has now hit 11 batters. And when you look at Michael Collins on this Rancho Cucamonga team, he has been hit 15 times this year, and that's the most in the league, so we'll see what that means. As a 2-1 pitch, fastball misses low and in, and it's now 3 balls and a strike on Sandoval. Chris doesn't walk too many, 13 walks in 53 and 2/3 innings. Struck out 33 over that time. Opponents this year hitting .298 against him. As the next pitch is a fastball, that misses low. That'll put a runner on first base. That's the first base runner of the game as Pat Riley now steps up for the Quakes.
Number 13, Pat Riley.
Riley batting .277 this year, 5 home runs, 26 RBIs. And Pat has really been struggling lately. Just 3 for his last 17, batting only .229 over his last 10. Down to step in from the left side. As Chris hopes to keep the Quakes scoreless in the first inning. Chris has been excellent in working from the stretch this year. First pitch on the way. That one taken low and inside on the slider. The count now 1-0. With runners on base, Kyle Chris has limited opponents to just a .261 average. But again, when there's runners in scoring position and 2 outs, the opponent's just 2 for 20 this year against the right-hander. When he has been healthy, really one of the most reliable pitchers the Mavericks have to offer. The 1-0. Fastball in there for a strike on the inside corner. And the count now evened up with a ball and a strike. No score. Top of the first inning. Mavericks hoping to keep the Quakes scoreless in the first and get their licks against Micah Posey in the bottom half of the inning. 2 outs, runner at first. Donahue sets up outside. The 1-1 fouled off of the ankle of Pat Riley. And Chris now up 1-2. Yet really to see one of those heavy breaking balls from Chris today. We've seen him throw a couple sliders. But as far as that pitch, it really just falls off the table. I have not yet seen one of those. And that brings to mind, really, the Mavericks, their pitching staff. Some of the best curveballs in the league. You look at Billy Buckner's and Danny Christensen's, Kyle Chris, Brandon Whedon's, John Gregg. A lot of movement on those benders. The 1-2, hung on and missed. There's a slider. That'll retire Riley. That'll do it for the Quakes in the first inning. Chris strikes out 2, does not give up a hit. No runs, no hits, no errors. One man left. Heading into the bottom of the first inning. No score in this game. You're listening to Mavericks Baseball on Clear Channel Talk 960. Don't go anywhere, Maverick fans. The bottom of the first coming up right after this. Welcome back, Mavericks fans. Here's the Maverick lineup going up against left-hander Micah Posey. Leading off, shortstop Irving Falu. He'll be followed by second baseman Wilbur Perez and right fielder, not Vladimir Valentin. That's Geraldo Valentin. Had a couple players mixed up. Meanwhile, the first pitch to Falu, taken low, and the count 1-0. In the cleanup spot, first baseman Mike Sidolka. He's followed by designated hitter Tommy Dueñas. Number 6 spot is catcher Adam Donahue. The 1-0 is a chopper behind the mound. Starting the ball, Nate Sutton backhands it. The hard throw to first is just in time to beat a speedy Irving Falu to the bag. 1 down. Mavericks number 7 hitter going to be center fielder Juan Senrizo. He's followed by left fielder James Tomlin and third baseman Ed Lucic. So Perez now stepping in. He had a night off last night. And in the Mavericks, 16-10 loss Tuesday that allowed the 66ers to clinch the first half title. Perez, an excellent 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs in that game. First pitch to Wilbur is a fastball for a strike on the corner, 0-1. Micah Posey this year, 2-8, a 4.35 ERA. Opponents are hitting .302 against the southpaw out of Tallahassee, Florida. Next pitch swung on and missed. And the count now 0-2. That was a good two-seam fastball from the lefty. Posey, decision in each of his last 7 outings, 1-6 in that time. So he has been pitching better than the numbers indicate. His next pitch misses well inside on Perez. The count now 1-2. Posey, 6'4", 225 pounds. And pitch for the Quakes at the very end of the 2005 season. The 1-2 pitch is popped out to left field. Moving over towards the gap is Riley and LeBlanc. Looks like LeBlanc's going to get there first, and he makes the catch. That'll be the second out for the Mavericks here in the first inning. And that'll bring up Geraldo Valentin to the plate. Defensively, Rancho lining up with Sandoval at third, Rodriguez at short, Nate Sutton at second, Baltazar Lopez at first. Outfield of Riley in left, Josh LeBlanc at center, Drew Toussaint in right. Battery today, Posey on the hill, Collins behind the plate. The designated hitter today for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes is Cliff Remley. So Valentin now stepping in. He's hitting .299 this year, 5 home runs, 33 RBIs. Posey rears back. The first pitch is on the way, and that's a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Posey's last 2 starts have been against the Mavericks when a combined 10 innings in those 2 games. He gave up 12 runs. And the next pitch misses. The count now 1-1. Posey 0-2 over those starts. He's allowed 3 home runs over that time. Giving up 9 home runs. That's the most on the Quake stack. Chopper to the left side. Taken on 1 hop by Rodriguez. The throw to first is almost wide of the bag. And Baltazar Lopez corrals that one. And the Mavericks go 1-2-3 in the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left. Now heading into the top of the second inning. No score in this ball game. Mavericks The Quakes coming right up. You're listening to High Desert Maverick Baseball on Talk 960 and HDMavs.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 90 seconds. Full night of action in the Cal League tonight. Lancaster is going to be at San Jose, Bakersfield at Lake Elsinore, Visalia at Stockton, and Modesto down at Inland Empire. Right now, scoreless heading into the top of the second as All-Star Michael Collins going to lead things off for Rancho Cucamonga. Kyle Chris first pitch. The fastball that misses upstairs, 1-0. Collins, 296 average, 4 home runs, 43 RBIs. And here you have the pitcher leading the league in hits batsman. And the batter that's been plunked the most times on the year. The 1-0. Fouled off to the right side, out of play. And the count now evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike. It's going to be Collins, Remily, and Rodriguez this inning against the Mavericks right-hander out of the University of California, Berkeley. Chris playing on a very talented Cal team, featuring Connor Jackson, now with the Arizona Diamondbacks, as well as Brian Horwitz, of course, the star for the San Jose Giants. Meanwhile, the 1-1 to Collins is a broken bat liner out to the left side. The barrel of the bat almost ended up all the way down by the Mavericks bullpen. So Collins flips the bat shard that he had remaining up against the dugout and goes back, gets a new piece of lumber. The count 1-2. Collins fares well against the righties. Actually, bats better against the righties than he does against the lefties, even though he himself is right-handed. 309 average against the righties. As he now steps back in, Michael Collins sure will be thrilled to know that his Socceroos out of Australia are going to be taking on Italy in the first stage of the knockout round of the 2006 World Cup. Collins, a native of Canberra, Australia. And the Angels really do a good job of international scouting. Several French Canadians on this team, an Australian. It's a 1-2. Curveball. Fouled back. That one was in on the hand. Good location on that pitch. And Collins stays behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, when you look at the numbers between the two teams, you would think, my goodness, Rancho Cucamonga has had some advantage over High Desert this year. But not so fast, my friend. Mavericks 12-7 on the season against Rancho, even though the Mavericks have a lower batting average and a higher ERA head-to-head. 1-2, bounce towards the Mavericks dugout. And that's going to cause Justin Barnes to jump back into the dugout. That one almost got a piece of Justin, who was leaning on the front railing. Meanwhile, Collins still behind the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Chris waiting for Michael to get back into the batter's box. Still standing aside the white chalk line. Catching his breath, now he's back in there. Kyle shakes off another sign from Donahue. We've seen that quite a bit today. The 1-2 is bounced off of his foot. And the count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Collins last night, 1 for 3 for Rancho, a double in 3 at-bats. Struck out swinging in the 6th inning. And that was Billy Buckner's 8th strikeout last night. Buckner actually finished with 9. So 1-2 once again. Chris rears back. Donahue sets up inside, and the pitch hits him. And, well, you knew that was coming when Chris was going up against Michael Collins. And, well, the statistics don't lie. So Collins leads off the top of the second after getting plunked. The runner on first and nobody out. It'll bring up Cliff Remley to the plate. Remley, the designated hitter for Rancho Cucamonga, coming in with an average of .290. 2 home runs, 23 runs batted in on the season. And for Remley, it was a 1-for-4 effort with a single and a run scored last night. Also struck out twice. Chris' first pitch, slider misses low and in the count 1-0. Chris hoping to keep the ball low. He has allowed 6 home runs in his 53 and 2/3 innings, but only 1 home run over his last 3 starts. 3 of those home runs came in his loss in the year. That was May 24th here at home against the Quakes. Next pitch misses low and away. And the count 2-0 against Cliff Remley. Still no score in this game. Top of the second inning. Mavericks have won 9 consecutive games against Rancho Cucamonga, including 8 straight games over the last week and a half. The 2-0 with a runner holding. And that one misses low. The count now 3 balls and no strikes on Cliff Remley. But Chris, while he's been missing, has been missing low and below the zone instead of leaving pitches out over the middle of the plate. And the Quakes can hit it with this day. The 3-0. That one's a 2-seam fastball in there for a strike, and the count now 3-1. Mavericks middle infield looking to turn 2. Outfield straightaway now of Juan Senrisa. Moving over towards the right field side of center field. As Chris delivers the 3-1. Runners going, the pitch fouled away out towards the Hardball Cafe. And the count pushed to full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Remley, 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. He's out of Powder Springs, Georgia. And Remley is out of Georgia Tech and was drafted by the Angels back in the 11th round of the 2004 free agent draft. Go back to first base. Collins sides back safely. Rancho Cucamonga is a team that has a very solid lineup. They will get some runs across on the board. And on deck is Sean Rodriguez, one of the more dangerous hitters in the league. You don't want to have 2 on and no out when he steps in. Runners going again, the 3-2. And that one is actually taken for ball 4. That was ball 4, so the throw down to second base in which a runner was tagged out, that will not count. And I'm beginning to wonder what was wrong with that pitch behind home plate. And it looked like that one was right down the middle. Not sure what Remley was looking at. And Chris doesn't get the call. Sometimes you see the umpires sometimes distracted when a runner is going when there are 2 strikes on the batter. But that one was like one of the best Chris pitches all night long. Now runners now at first and second. Nobody out for Sean Rodriguez. And Chris even wanted an explanation after that last pitch. But he has to learn from his mistakes. He hit Michael Collins with a 2-strike pitch. The runners at first and second. Nobody out. The first pitch to Rodriguez. Fouled back against the screen. The count 0-1. Rodriguez batting .293 this year. He has 14 home runs and 42 RBI. So he was 0 for 4 yesterday. Now 0 for his last 9 against High Desert last Sunday. He was 0 for 5 with a golden sombrero. That means 4 strikeouts. As the 0-1 hit on the ground to the left side. Waiting for it is Falu. He flips it to Penhead for 1. Return throw to first is in time. That's a 6-4-3 double play. And Sean Rodriguez, that's not the best effort we've seen him come up with. And that throw to first base beat him by a large margin. So 2 down now as Collins moves to third. That'll bring up Bruce Toussaint to the plate. Mavericks have now turned the most double plays in the entire California League. That was double play number 84 on the year. And this is the type of situation here where Chris has been extremely comfortable. Opponents only 2 for 20 against him with runners in scoring position and 2 out. First pitch to Toussaint misses low. The count 1-0. The Compton, California native batting .237. 10 home runs, 23 runs batted in. So he does have excellent power in that lanky frame. 6'2", only 175 pounds. The 1-0. That's a fastball in there for a strike. Good-looking 2-seamer. And the count now evened up at 1-1. No score, top of the second inning. However, the Quakes are threatening. Runner on third base with 2 out. Kyle gets his side. Donahue sets up inside. The 1-1. Bounce to the left side. 2 hops. It's into the glove of Falu. The throw to first is in time, and that'll do it for Rancho in the second inning. Chris works out of the jam. That's been his specialty all year long, working with runners on base. For Rancho, no runs, no hits, no errors. 1 man left on base, now heading to the second. The bottom of the second will feature Sunoka, Duenas, Donahue for the Mavericks. I'm John Rosen, the voice of the Mavs. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be right back after this. Coming up this inning, the Mavericks' 3 best hitters against lefties. The 1-0 to Sadolka. Strike on the outside corner, 1-1. Mike will be followed by Tommy Duenas and Adam Donahue, the 4, 5, 6 batters. Mavericks, though, still looking for their first base runner of this game. The 1-1 pitch on the way. That's a broken bat liner into short right field. That's just another base hit, another day at the office for Mike Sadolka. Continues to demonize those left-handed pitchers. And Mike, who came into the game with an average of 284, has since raised it. Tonight, Ezra gets the leadoff batter aboard here in the second inning. And we'll bring up Tommy Duenas to the plate. Runs the longest hitting streak on the Mavericks roster. Now it's 6 games. Has 2 home runs over that time. He's raised his batting average 51 points. Now comes in batting .241 with 5 home runs and 11 RBIs. And is an excellent leader in the clubhouse on this Mavericks team. A great teammate to have. He's part of the reason the Mavericks have really excelled here in the month of June. The next pitch is fouled off to the right side. The count now 0-1 of the Mavericks DH. Mavericks now 16-5 in June. And High Desert had won 9 consecutive games before dropping 2 to Inland Empire, the 2 they needed to win, and then winning 2 in a row. So 11 out of 13 have been won by the Mavericks, as the next pitch is a fastball that misses off the corner of the plate, and the count 1-1. Duenas, another one of the Mavericks hitters that terrorizes lefties. Now batting .400 with 3 of his 5 home runs against lefties this year. As Posey is set again, looking over at Sadolka. He's held on by Lopez. The next pitch misses low, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike on the Maverick DH. Duenas, very good friends with many people on this Rancho Cucamonga roster. Suited up alongside them last year with the Cedar Rapids Colonels in the Angels system. So he knows exactly what Mike Posey has to offer. He's caught him before. The 2-1 misses low, and the count now 3 balls and 1 strike. In fact, the catchers last year in Cedar Rapids were Tommy Duenas as well as Michael Collins. Ben Johnson also got up there for a little while. Cedar Rapids play in city in eastern Iowa, Cedar Rapids. And the Iowa connection is strong in that Midwest League. Teams in Clinton, Burlington. The Quad Cities team plays in Davenport. The next pitcher is a toss back to first base. The count 3-1 once again on Duenas. Of course, then there's the Burlington Bees, the Kansas City Royals low-A affiliate. We'll take a look at some of the affiliates later on in this game. Meanwhile, no score, bottom of the second inning. 3-1 on Duenas. Hitters count coming up. One of the hottest hitters in the Maverick roster. The 3-1 misses high and away. That's ball 4. The Mavericks have runners at first and second base with nobody out here in the bottom of the second inning. Adam Donahue stepping up, but he's not too shabby against the lefties either.
Number 16, Adam Donahue.
Donahue batting .270 overall this year. 4 home runs, 18 RBIs. Meanwhile, against the lefties, Donahue batting .333 with 3 of his 4 home runs. And he had a home run against Posey the last 2 times these teams faced off against each other. That was Sunday down in Rancho, Cucamonga. First pitch to Adam is popped out to short right center field. Could be trouble. Nobody's going to get to that one. That's going to move all the runners up 90 feet. A Texas League bloop single to right. The Mavericks have the bases loaded with nobody out here in the second inning. No, Mavericks going to bring up their leading home run hitter on the year, Juan Senrizo, to the plate with the bases loaded. Senrizo batting .226 this year with 12 home runs and 34 RBIs. Mavericks have 2 grand slams over the past 8 days. One by Irving, Falu, one by Brian McFall. Well, Mavericks is trying to hit him in bunches here. Last year's Maverick team had 4 grand slams on the season. The record by any Maverick team for grand slams in a year is 9. That was a 91 team. Next pitch is fouled off to the right side, out of play. That one will find the grassy knoll. And the count now 0-1 on Senrizo. Still, Senrizo has struggled since injuring his knee 2 weeks ago, sliding into second base. And since his return, he's only 1 for 25. It was a big one. That was a 2-run double last night that accounted for the first 2 Mavericks runs. Next pitch swung on and missed a fastball. Looked low and away out of the zone. The count now 0-2. Maverick center fielder. Really up until last week, bases loaded had been the Achilles heel of this Maverick team. Desert still only batting .190 with the bases juiced. The 0-2 to Senrizo is driven deep out to center field. Going back on the ball is LeBlanc. He is at the track, at the wall, and that one is off the top of the wall. 1 run in, 2 runs coming in, 3 across now. Senrizo on his way to third, and that's a bases clearing triple. Desert now leads this game by a score of 3-0. Just missed out on a grand slam, by about 2 or 3 feet, but still the Mavericks will take it. They jump out on top 3-0. That was a shot to straightaway center field off the greenhouse cap base sign, just to the right of the hitter's eye. And for Juan Senrizo, he comes up with RBIs 35 through 37.
We have sort of a problem here.
And that was not the best-looking 0-2 pitch that Mike Capozzi has thrown in his career. That one looks like he was trying to go outside with it, but left that one up.
Number 2, James Falu.
Senrizo just pounced on it. You can't leave those pitches up in these situations. Juan Senrizo, who already has a year's worth of experience and then some in Double-A. So 3-0 High Desert. Still nobody out for the Mavericks here in the second inning as Rancho Cucamonga draws their infield in. First pitch on the way, and Tomlin sends one deep to left. That one back at the warning track in left center, and that one is off the top of the wall again. Coming around to score is Senrizo. Tomlin will stop at second, and that's an RBI double as High Desert has now jumped out in front 4-0. For Tomlin, that's RBI number 8, and only his 70th at bat with High Desert. And that'll bring up Ed Lucas, trying to keep this streak going. The first 5 batters this inning for the Mavericks have all reached base. Hidalgo single, Duenas a walk, Donahue a single, Senrizo a triple, Tomlin a double. See if High Desert can keep it going against Posey here. The left-hander looks back at second, now comes home, and that's lined up the middle into center field for a base hit. Tomlin will be held at third base. The throw home, a little bit offline by the center fielder LeBlanc. But High Desert, another single. Tomlin on his way to third. Runners at the corner. Still nobody out. We're now back to the top of the order. That'll bring up Irving Falu to the plate.
Shortstop, Number 12, Irving Falu.
Falu, again batting from the right side against the left-hander Micah Posey, is 0 for 1 so far today, bounced down to second place in a close play over at first. Falu has a hit in 11 of his last 13 games, batting .367 over that time. Really doing an excellent job raising his batting average and his on-base percentage. First pitch on the way. That one swung on and missed. And the count now 0-1 after that curveball. As Tomlin leads off from third, and Ed Lucas from first. Meanwhile, we're only in the bottom of the second inning, still nobody out. Now the Rancho Cucamonga bullpen heading out over towards the corner. They're going to start to get some work in. The throw over to first base is not in time. That one almost dropped the first baseman Lopez off the bat. Meanwhile, Falu is the seventh Mavericks at bat here in the second inning. And it started with a broken bat single to right field by Mike Sidolka. The 0-1. That one misses low on the curveball. And the count now evened up at a ball and a strike. 4-0 High Desert. Bottom of the second inning in Adelanto. As Michelle Samard starts to get loose for Rancho Cucamonga down the right field line. So 1-1 to Tomlin. To Falu. That's a ground ball past the diving Sean Rodriguez into center field. That will score Tomlin. Falu with another single. And the Mavericks against Posey here in the second. 6 hits and a walk. Lucas now on second base. Still nobody out, and High Desert leads 5-0. For Falu, that is RBI number 27 on the year. That brings up Wilbur Perez to the plate. And remember, Samar just started getting loose for Rancho down the right field line, so he is still, we would guess, about 5 to 7 minutes away from being ready to come back into this game. The first pitch to Perez is swung on and missed on the curveball. The count now 0-1 on the Mavericks second baseman. 5 runs on 6 hits this inning for High Desert. 5-0 the Mavs lead. Setting up inside is Collins. The 0-1 on the way. That one misses well inside, and the count now a ball and a strike. The way that this rivalry has turned out this season is not the way that it started. More about that in a moment. As the 1-1 misses off the corner, the count 2-1. Over the first 9 games that these two teams played this year, the Quakes had won 7 out of 9. But now it's the Mavericks with a 9-game winning streak against Rancho, hoping to extend it tonight. The 2-1 to Freddy, fouled off to the right side, out of play. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mavericks also hoping to extend their winning streak at home to 10 games. And the Mavericks have really played their best baseball of the year in this June month. The next pitch is swung on and missed. That one was actually tipped into the glove of Michael Collins, so that will be the first down for the Mavericks here in the second. Meanwhile, High Desert is now batted around, batting 9th this inning. Geraldo Valentin.
A double play of the game. Geraldo Valentin.
Valentin 0 for 1. He bounced out to shortstop to end the first inning. Mavericks have scored 5 times this inning. And the Maverick record this year for most runs in one inning is 7. That was done twice, both against Rancho Cucamonga. First pitch on the way. That one misses upstairs, and the count now 1-0. Of the 2 games, the Mavericks scored 7 times in one inning. Both were last week in their 7-game home-and-home series sweep of the Quakes. The 1-0 to Valentin misses up and away, and the count now 2 balls and no strikes as Mike Sidolka stands in on deck. 5-0 Mavericks, bottom of the second inning, still only 1 out. Meanwhile, the Quakes middle infielder really playing close to that second base tag, Nate Sutton. Now moves back over to where he normally plays. That next pitch is sent into the gap in right center field. Is anybody going to get there? Josh LeBlanc makes an excellent running catch in right center. No one will be able to tag up. That originally appeared to be a ball really screaming out towards the gap. LeBlanc, the center fielder, covers a lot of ground, and he was already playing over towards right field to begin with. So does an excellent job getting there. They obviously had read the scouting reports and knew that Valentin goes to the right side a lot. Meanwhile, Mike Sidolka started this inning with a single, and he now bats, representing the 10th hitter to step to the plate. Sidolka, 1 for 1 in this game. Runners at first and second, still 2 outs. Setting up inside is Collins. Posey's first pitch, a fastball taken for a strike on the inside corner. And the count now 0-1 on the Mavericks first baseman. On deck is Tommy Duena. Drew a walk, came around to score on the bases-clearing triple by Juan Senrizo. The 0-1 to Sidolka, misses in the dirt. A good stop by Collins to keep that one in front of him. And the count now 1-1. Meanwhile, that triple by Senrizo is third of the season. And that ties him with Irving, Falu, and Mike Galloway, the most on the Mavericks. Remember more about Mike Galloway in just a moment. 1 ball and 1 strike on Sidolka. The next pitch from Posey, swung on and missed. And that's about the first time this year that we've seen Mike Sidolka step into the bucket. Usually just such excellent fluid swing at the plate, just a fundamentally correct swing. But that time kind of just waved at the pitch. And so Posey rewarded with a strike. So 1-2. That one just misses off the corner. Some of the Quakes wanted that call. Second baseman Nate Sutton started walking off the field, but he doesn't get it. The deuce is wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Lucas from second, Falu from first. Sidolka hoping to bring them both home. Posey looks back at second, and the 2-2 pitch, check swing. He went around. He's now tagged down as that ball was in the dirt, and that'll do it for the Mavericks. But boy, what a second inning they had. High Desert in the second. 5 runs coming on 6 hits. There were no errors. 2 men left on base. And now heading to the third, 5-0 High Desert. Don't go anywhere, Mavericks fans. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back, High Desert baseball fans. Baltazar Lopez leading it off for the Quakes against the Mavericks here at the top of the third. 5-0 High Desert, courtesy of a 5-run bottom of the second. Chris' first pitch is his 34th of the evening. That's a 2-seamer in there for a strike on the inside corner. And the count now 0-1 on the Rancho first baseman. Lopez, LeBlanc, and Sutton, the 9-1 and 2 batters for Rancho this inning, is the next pitch. Bounce foul on a slider, and the count now 0-2. Lopez, the first baseman, is someone who came in last year as a very highly touted prospect in the Angels system and really hasn't lived up to his billing. There's just not much pop in his bat. The scouts thought he was going to be a star a couple years ago, never really materialized. As the 0-2 is on the way, that one misses well inside of the slider. And Chris almost hit his 15th batter of the year. Lopez, meanwhile, 6'1", 185 pounds. He's out of Caborca, Mexico. Next pitch swung on and missed on the slider, and that's another Chris strikeout, his 3rd overall tonight. And that'll bring up Josh LeBlanc back up to the plate. LeBlanc goes for 1. But again, this is the first time, or this is the second time he's now coming up, I should say, against Chris. Rancho has now officially gone through their lineup one full time. So we'll see if these Rancho batters can make the adjustment. As coming in, they have not recorded a hit in their first time around in the lineup. First pitch on the way from Chris is a curveball that misses up and away, and the count 1-0. That was only the second pitch LeBlanc saw from Chris today. After he bounced out to first base back in the first inning. It's tougher to make the adjustment. Your second time around, it's only the second pitch you've seen. The 1-0. That's a two-seamer in there for a strike, and the count 1-1. Almost looked like cutters that Chris is throwing there, really breaking into the left-handed batter. As a right-hander, gets his sign from Donahue. Sets up inside. The next pitch on the way is a tapper just to the left of the mound. Charges the ball Lucas. He gloves it. The throw to first is just in time. An excellent play by Ed Lucas. And the Mavericks defense continues to shine. Had Lucas not been playing in on that play, that would have been a hit, an infield single into no man's land. But Lucas charges the ball, gets it out of his glove quickly, and the speedy LeBlanc thrown out over at first. Nate Sutton, now the batter. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Got caught looking back in the first inning. Chris' first pitch is on the way, and that one's a changeup. Misses upstairs, and the count now 1-0. 5-0, Mavericks lead it. Trying to go for their 10th consecutive win over the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes and 10th consecutive win at home. Next pitch is a slider that misses low and inside, and the count now 2-0 on Sutton. Chris, out of high school, originally drafted by the Los Angeles Dodgers. You know anything about Chris, where he's from? Well, he wasn't going to be a Dodger. Not a big Dodger fan. Next pitch is down to the right side. Perez over to Spidolka. And that's a 1-2-3 inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. No scoring for the Quakes in the third. We head into the bottom half of the inning. 5-0 High Desert. I am John Rosen, the voice of the match. And I'll be back at the pitch. Well, the first pitch at Micah Posey through to Tommy Duenas here in the bottom of the third inning. The changeup was swung on and missed, and the count now 0-1 of the Mavericks DH. 5-0 High Desert, bottom of the third now. Collins sets up inside, and the pitch is a two-seamer that just misses in. And the count now 1 ball and 1 strike. The Mavericks, Duenas, Donahue, and Senriso going up against Posey, and the Mavericks came up with 6 hits and 7 straight base runners against him in the second. Next pitch misses well inside again. The count now 2 balls and a strike on the DH. Duenas out of Florida International University. There are several Cal Leaguers this year. The next pitch misses low and in, and the count now 3-1. Played there alongside Lake Elsinore Storm members and Skip Adams and Chris Hiley. Graniot seems to have friends on just about every team he goes up against. As the 3-1 is on the way, Posey comes home, and that pitch is drilled out to left field. That one's going to be playable, though. Moving over to his left is Riley. And he makes the catch for the first out here in the bottom of the third inning. So one down, and that'll bring up Adam Donahue to plate. Maverick catcher is 1 for 1. A Texas late bloop single to the right side back in the second inning. And then scored on the next batter from first base as Juan Senrizo tripled off the center field wall. Just missed out on his first Maverick grand slam. First pitch to Donnie is taken low, and the count now 1-0 on the Maverick catcher. Mavericks like to hit against Posey. Posey 0-3 against Ty Desert this year with a 4.70 ERA. This is actually his 6th appearance against the lefty as the next pitch misses low, and the count now 2 balls and no strikes. Posey coming back again, and the next pitch is taken low and inside. It's now 3 balls and no strikes on the Mavericks catcher. As Posey wants to get a new ball. Back from home plate umpire Matthew Hensel. In the field today, it's Bradley Lawhead. Posey rears back, and the 3-0 pitch is taken right down the chute. The count now 3-1 to Donahue. Outfield playing relatively deep here. Left fielder Pat Riley. There's a couple paces in front of the warning track. The next pitch is a changeup that misses outside. That's ball 4. And Donahue draws a 2-out walk.
Center fielder, number 14, Juan Senrizo.
Juan Senrizo now back at the plate. And it looks like he has snapped out of his slump. He had a big 2-run double yesterday and a bases-clearing triple tonight. As he stands in with a close stance from the right side. Left-hander Posey looks over at first. The first pitch on the way, swung on and missed on the changeup. The count 0-1. Senrizo really susceptible to both the changeup as well as the nasty breaking pitches. As he steps out of the batter's box, and Senrizo always taking a long time in between pitches. Well, he's back there once again. Posey looks over at first, sending up inside Collins. The next pitch is in there for a strike, 0-2. On deck for the Mavericks, James Tomlin. And he doubled back in the second inning. Mavericks needed just a home run, and they would have collectively bat for the cycle in the bottom of the second. As the 0-2 pitch is a chopper to the left side, waiting for it at short is Rodriguez. The toss is Sutton in time. On the throw to first, they get him up over there as well. That's a double play that Senrizo grounds into. And the Mavericks are done for in the third inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left. We're now heading to the top of the fourth inning. The score 5-0 High Desert. We'll be right back after this.
Sherwin-Williams.
5-0 High Desert, but the Mavericks cannot rest on their laurels. High Desert has to keep going for the jugular here. Just keep pounding and pounding and pounding away, never letting up at all. Otherwise, Rancho Cucamonga might get a run here, run there, and they could be back in this game. Meanwhile, Kyle Criss issues the first pitch upstairs to Freddy Sandoval on the count 1-1. 1-0. Sandoval drew a walk with 2 outs against Criss back in the first inning. As he stands in from the left side, Sandoval out of Tijuana, Mexico. 1-0 misses off the corner, and it's now 2 balls and no strikes. Tomorrow is the final game before the All-Star break, and there will be a spectacular fireworks show following the game tomorrow evening. As the next pitch is a 2-seamer that misses low, and the count now 3-0 on Sandoval. Tomorrow, left-hander Danny Christensen going up against right-hander Fernie Rodriguez. The Quakes, as the 3-0 pitch is on the way. That's a 2-seam fastball taken for a strike. The count now 3-1. Tomorrow's fireworks spectacular. One of 3 upcoming fireworks shows here in Adelanto. And the next pitch, another 2-seam fastball, and that one was taken inside. And that one looked like a pretty good pitch up here. Looked like it crossed the plate, but Chris does not get the call. And a runner on first with nobody out as Pat Riley steps in. So Sandoval still yet to record an at-bat in this game. Drawn 2 walks is Pat Riley. Stands in from the left side. Riley struck out against Chris back in the first inning. Mavs have turned the most double plays in the league. They already have one tonight as the first pitch was a 2-seam fastball exactly where the last pitch hit the plate. That was the exact same spot. And Chris doesn't get the call that time, but he does get the call here. So a bit of an inconsistent strike zone so far from Matthew Hensel. Meanwhile, the 0-1 on the way. Swung on and missed on the slider. And Riley really swung from his heels there. And was still late on that pitch. The count now is 0-2. On deck, All-Star Michael Collins. Chris looking to Donnie to get the sign. Adams sets up inside. The 0-2 pitch is fouled away to the left side. The count stays at 0-2. That was one of those curveballs that we saw from Chris. However, that one was located a little bit up in the zone. With the count at 0-2, doesn't really want to give Pat Riley anything good to hit. Riley will take advantage of mistake. One of his 5 home runs at Grand Slam this year. Again, the 0-2 pitch. That one's a called strike 3. Fastball down the hard of the plate. Riley was looking for something else.
You are one pathetic loser. Catcher, number 18, Michael Collins.
So Michael Collins steps in with a runner on first base and 1 out. Collins was hit by a pitch on a 2-strike pitch back in the second inning. And, of course, here you have Kyle, who's hit the most batters in the league. Collins, who's been hit more than anybody else. Kind of an explosive situation here between the two. Some of the Mavericks players actually getting frustrated at how often Collins gets hit. As the first pitch is popped up on the infield. Moving over to the right side is Wilber Perez. He has it in his sights, and he makes the catch. 2 down. But back to Collins. Yesterday, the time that he was hit by a pitch, and that came in the top of the 7th inning, kind of just leaned into that one. It wasn't that he leaned into it, really just made no effort to get out of the way of it. Saw it right into his elbow. And that's happened a bunch of times this year, and that doesn't make the Mavericks pitchers all too happy. So if he keeps doing that, gets a reputation of somebody who leans into pitches, and he's going to get one right on the chin. Runner on first, 2 out. 5-0 Mavericks, top of the 4th inning. Chris' first pitch misses well inside. That was a slider in the count 1-0. And Chris continues to work inside against all teams in this league. Loves to throw those front door curveballs, those front door sliders, and as a result, he's been hitting some batters. But other than that, it's been gravy. As the 1-0 is popped up again on the infield, right beyond the pitcher's mound. Looks like it's going to be the third baseman, Lucas Ed, makes the one-handed grab, and that'll do it for the Quakes in the 4th. No runs, no hits, no errors, a man left. We're now heading to the bottom of the 4th inning here in Adelanto. 5-0 High Desert. And they'll be right back on Talk 960 and HDMavs.com right after this. get the feeling that the Quakes are eventually going to say enough is enough, and you're going to eventually see them rally for about a 7 or 8 run inning. Hopefully it won't be tonight, and hopefully I'm just getting ahead of myself here. But the Mavericks, what I'm trying to say is the Mavericks have to keep scoring runs in this game. As the first pitch by James Tomlin is popped foul to the left side behind home plate. Collins isn't going to reach that one. And the count now 0-1 of the Maverick left fielder. But eventually, Rancho Cucamonga, there's only so much a team can take before they really get angry and really start getting the results that they're looking for. But the Mavericks, after getting 5 in the bottom of the second, can't just rest here. Heidecker needs to come up with another couple runs. As the 0-1 pitch is on the way to Tomlin. That one swung on and tipped foul back behind home plate. The count 0-2. Meanwhile, this season, the largest lead that the Mavericks have blown to eventually lose a game has only been 3 runs. That's relatively low. As the 0-2 is on the way from Posey. That's a fastball that misses low and away. They count a ball and 2 strikes. Again, this is a ballpark really known for the offense that it produces. And 5, 6, 7 run innings. Not out of the ordinary here at this stadium. So Rancho always just a couple swings away from coming back into this one. Ground ball 2 off to the right side. Cutting up with it, and he beats Tomlin to the bag with a throw to first by a couple sets. So 1 out here. That's going to bring up Ed Lucas to the plate. Lucas 1 for 1 with a single. So Tomlin now 1 for 2 after he doubled in a run back in the second inning. And narrowly missed out on his first home run of the season. First pitch on the way to Ed Lucas. Swung on and missed on the changeup to count 0-1. Lucas's single was a line shot up the middle. Picked up some infield dirt behind the second base bag. But well struck up the middle. The next pitch misses low. The count now evened up at 1-1. Michel Samard had started to get loose for Rancho Cucamonga. But as of right now, there's no action going on in the Quakes bullpen. As the 1-1 pitch is on the way. Now it misses low and inside. The count now 2 balls and 1 strike. Mavericks right now in a stretch of 10 of 13 games against Rancho Cucamonga. So far of those 10 games, Mavericks are 8-0. 2-1 is tough foul to the right side. Moving over into short right field is going to be Lopez, and he actually makes that catch straddling the right field line. That'll be the second out for the Mavericks. Here in the fourth is Irving Falu steps in. Irving 1 for 2 with an RBI single. That came back in the second inning. That second inning, Sidolka singled. Duenas walked on. He singled to load the bases. Senriso unloaded them with a bases-clearing triple. Tomlin then doubled in Senriso as the next pitch is grounded down the third baseline foul. And that looks like a broken bat, so Falu going to get a new one. After that Tomlin double, Lucas singled to put runners at the corner. Falu then singled home Tomlin to make the score 5-0 High Desert. That's where we stand right now in the bottom of the fourth. So Irving Falu, who had his likeness on a High Desert Maverick player magnet tonight, now is sponsored by Frontier Homes. And in the batter's box from the right side. The 0-1 to the shortstop. He shows bunt and pulls back. And that pitch missed well up and inside some chin music. Yeah, good job by Falu just to get out of the way of that one, or else he would have won that pitch, possibly on the ear flap. Needless to say, that pitch went for a ball. As the count now, 1 ball and 1 strike. Posey's 1-1. Pop foul behind home plate out of play. And the count now 1-2 on the Mavericks shortstop. Falu, over his last 13 games, 11 runs scored, 9 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, and a grand slam. In other words, he's been productive. The 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Tipped that one actually into the glove of Collins on a 2-seamer that hit the outside corner. That'll do it for High Desert. They go 1, 2, 3 in the fourth inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left. We're now heading into the fifth, 5-0 High Desert. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Rancho Cucamonga Quakes tied a franchise record with most consecutive losses against one team. It's now 9 coming into today's game. And the Mavericks hoping to break that streak. With another victory here tonight, they lead it 5-0 as we head to the top of the 5th. Sean Rodriguez, a powerful hitter for Rancho Cucamonga, leading it off. The first Kyle Chris offering on the way, and that's a fastball. This is up and outside. The count now 1-0 on the Rancho infielder. Rodriguez to Son Lopez, a 7, 8, 9 batter for the Quakes here. And Chris gets his side from Donahue. And the 1-0. That's a good-looking two-seam fastball. That one originally started out, looked like it was going to miss outside, and then fell back over on the outside corner of the plate. So 1-1 now as Chris rears and unloads. Swung on and missed. A nasty slider by the right-hander. And the count now 1-2. Interesting to see Sean Rodriguez batting so low in the lineup. And he has really been the most productive member of this Quake team. 293 average, 14 home runs, 42 RBIs. But he's moved down from 3rd to 6th to 7th. Well, whenever he's in place, he's been producing. Now the next pitch is a fastball that just misses outside, and the count 2-2. Chris, 2-2 offering. Called, strike 3, fastball hits the inside corner. That was a well-located pitch by the right-hander. That'll be the first down for the Quakes here in the 5th inning. 5th strikeout overall by Kyle, and that'll bring up Drew Toussaint to the plate. The Quakes right fielder, 0 for 1, bounced out to shortstop back in the 2nd inning. He has been a Maverick killer, though, this year, up until about last week when he got sick and missed 5 games of that 7-game set. First pitch, a good-looking slider. That one in there for a strike to count 0-1. Toussaint this year batting .333 with 6 home runs and 11 RBIs against the Mavericks. And that batting average against High Desert at one point stood at .386. The next pitch is lined to the right side, and that's going to be the first hit of the ball game. That one bounces in front of Geraldo Valentin. And the Quakes have a base runner here at the top of the 5th inning. A good piece of hitting by Toussaint. Went with his slider to the right side. Yeah, that'll bring up Baltazar Lopez, who's 0 for 1. Struck out swinging back in the 3rd inning. Left-handed batter, runner at first base, 1 out. Maverick middle infielder looking to turn 2 here. The next pitch, hit on the ground to the left side. Falu backhands it. His momentum away from the bag, but he gets it to Benez. It's thrown to first in time. And, well, that's why you have Irving Falu on a player magnet. Another wizard-like play on the field. As he turns a 6-4-3 double play and a ball hit into the hole. That'll do it for the Quakes to the 5th. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, no men left. We're now heading to the bottom of the inning. 5-0 High Desert. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Islanders baseball fans. On the first pitch that Wilbur Penez saw from the left-hander Micah Posey here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Singles up the middle. Good job by Sean Rodriguez to keep that ball in the infield. Made an excellent diving stop. And we're actually surprised that he even risked a throw to first base. We've seen what Sean Rodriguez throws to first have looked like over the past 10 days. And, well, he doesn't get a good grade for his tosses to first. But still an excellent stop to keep it on the infield. Though Penez still stands over at first. That brings up Geraldo Valentin to the plate. He's 0 for 2 so far. First Posey offering is a fastball taken upstairs, and the count now 1-0 on the Maverick right fielder. Still 5-0 High Desert, now bottom of the fifth inning. And the Mavericks can't just rest on this 5-0 lead. They got to keep pounding and pounding and pounding away. I was familiar with this ballpark. You know that no lead is safe here. The next pitch is fouled off to the right side. And the count now evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike. We'll have plenty of Cal League scores and Major League scores to update you with. Of course, it is early on the evening in most of these games around the circuit tonight. But we'll keep you up to date throughout the portion of this game as the next toss is over to first base. Perez gets back without a dive. Lancaster now up 2-0 over the Giants up in San Jose right now. Bakersfield also up 2-0 down at the Diamond of Lake Elsinore. And that's a stadium Bakersfield has actually won 3 out of 4 games at this year, even though they have a losing record on the year. The next pitch is skied down the right field line. Now with hook and foul, though. And now will bounce on the grassy knoll. The count now, ball and 2 strikes on Valentin. Now, according to Mavericks hitting coach Boots Day, Valentin, one of the best 2-strike hitters on the team. Of course, you look at Mike Sidolka and all that he's done with 2 strikes on the year, including a towering home run to right field off of Cal League All-Star Eric Hurley. Another throw to first base, and back in time is Perez. Stockton leading by Celia 4-3, now in the third. And Inlet Empire, a 4 spot at the bottom of the second, lead the Modesto Nuts 4-0. Posey set again, setting up inside Collins. The 1-2 is lined up the middle into center field, and now is another ugly 2-strike pitch. Left-hander Micah Posey. That one was right down the middle of the plate. And that's the same exact pitch that we saw to Juan Senriza when he tripled off the center field wall with the bases loaded on an 0-2 pitch. So Posey has not been spotting his pitches well, and that's why Michael Collins is now on the mound having a word with him. The runners now at first and second base, and that will bring up Sidolka to the plate. Mike 1 for 2 so far today. Both of his at-bats came in the second inning. Mavericks sent 10 men to the plate in that frame. Scored 5 times. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Sidolka really has excelled against the Southpaws this year. Collins sets up outside. The first pitch hits the corner of the count 0-1. Mike batting .333 against lefties this year, but still yet to come up with his first California League home run against the lefty. All 8 have been against the righties. The 0-1 pitch. This is low and inside, and the count now evened up at 1. Mike had a towering home run last night out of the deepest part of the ballpark over the 415 sign in right center field. And that tied the game up at 3 in the bottom of the 8th inning. When the Mavericks are down by a run to the Quakes in the later innings, they got them just where they want them. Next pitch misses low and away. A good stop by Collins, scooting over on his knees to block that one in the right-handed batter's box. As that pitch misses, the count now 2 balls and 1 strike as Tommy Dueñas stands in on deck. Michel Simard once again back up and getting loose for the Quakes as the 2-1 pitch is fouled off to the left side. And the count now evened up at 2-2. Sidolka, one of the 2 Mavericks that actually lives down the hill. And he has a house down in Corona, California. It's a long commute for him. And some days that drive is about an hour and a half. He lives closer to Lake Elsinore than any other California League park. The 2-2 pitch, a chopper foul towards the Maverick dugout. And the count stays even up. The other Maverick that commutes from down the hill is James Conley, who just joined the team a couple weeks ago and is yet to move up here and is staying down with relatives in San Bernardino. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Perez from second, Valentine from first, nobody out of the bottom of the 5th inning. Posey comes home, and that pitch misses inside. And it's now a full count. Big pitch coming up here by Posey. Yes, he doesn't want to walk the bases loaded. And bring power hitter Tommy Dueñas to the plate, who's bringing along a 6-game hitting streak. The 3-2 foul back against the screen. Looked like Sidolko was out in front of that pitch. And does his part just to get a piece of it and foul it back to try and get another one from Posey. That was the 7th pitch of this at-bat. Even stance from the left side. Posey has his sign, he's set. The 3-2 pitch just misses off the corner. And that was a pretty good-looking pitch from up here. It was a borderline pitch. Could have gone either way. Well, the Mavericks get the call. And it looks like that might be the end of the line for Micah Posey. His manager, Bobby Mitchell, now walking out to the mound. Would be surprised if we're greeted here by Michel Simard. And, yeah, they make the point over to the bullpen. So Posey's night has come to an end. And it's going to be a tough job here for Simard. Already up to his neck in alligators. Mavericks have the bases loaded, but we're going to take time out for a brief commercial break. When we come back, Tommy Dueñas, batting with the bases juiced, will be right back after this. Well, so far so good for the Mavericks. However, if you're a Rancho Cucamonga Quakes fan, well, you've seen better days. Mavericks trying to extend their winning streak against the Quakes to 10 games. As Tommy Dueñas steps in with the bases loaded against reliever Michel Simard. Simard, no record on the year, a 6.48 ERA. This is his 6th appearance in 8 1/3 innings. He has struck out 7, walked 4. Opponents batting .286 against the righty. One of 2 French Canadians on the Rancho roster. First pitch to Dueñas. Foul back on the slider, and the count now 0-1. On third base, Perez. On second base, Valentine. And over at first, Mike Sidolko. Tommy Dueñas now batting against his former battery mate from Cedar Rapids last year. And Michel Simard. Simard split last year between Rancho Cucamonga and the Cedar Rapids Colonel. Did not enjoy much success up here in the California League. So he is one of the older members of this Rancho club. The 0-1 swung on and missed. Blew a fastball by Dueñas. Challenged him with a fastball up in the zone. And the count now 0-2, and the Maverick DH as Adam Donahue stands in on deck. 5-0 High Desert. The Mavericks looking to widen their lead. Posey had problems with the 2 strike pitches. We'll see if Simard has any luck. The next pitch is lined to the left side over the head of the third baseman, Freddy Sandoval. 1 run in. Also coming around, Geraldo Valentine. The throw home not in time, and that's the 3rd time today we've seen the Mavericks come up with a big hit on an 0-2 pitch. And High Desert now leads this game 7-0 as Tommy Dueñas extends his hitting streak to 7 games. 2 RBIs on the play. And for Dueñas, those are RBIs 12 and 13 on the season. Bettis and Valentin scored on that one. That one was just lined to the left side. Sandoval, we've seen a good defensive work at third base this year, jumped up and really didn't have much of a play there. So Donahue now batting. As Samard is set, looks back at second, now comes home. First pitch, a two-seamer on the outside corner, the count 0-1. Mavericks now with a 7-0 lead this year. And again, the largest lead that the Mavericks have blown before losing a game this year, only 3 runs. This is a team that has been doing a good job at protecting leads, and that's because they have a solid bullpen. Next pitch is driven out to right field. Going back of the ball is Toussaint. He's at the wall, and he turns around, watches that one bounce off the Coca-Cola sign. 1 run coming across to the Mavericks. The other will be held. There will be no throw from the cutoff man, Nate Sutton. That's an RBI double by Adam Donahue, and the Mavericks now lead 8-0. Lanios holds at third. And for Donahue, that's now RBI number 19 on the season. And Rancho Cucamonga really shell-shocked here in this game. And we kind of had an idea it was going to be somewhat of a lopsided game. Remember last week, after Rancho lost the first game of the 7-game home-and-home set. They lost it on a wild pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning here at Adelanto. The next game, they went out, kicked the ball around, made ugly swings at the plate. The Mavericks won 15-3. Well, today, after Rancho Cucamonga loses a game in the 9th inning last night, Mavericks all over the Quakes, leading 8-0 in the 5th. First pitch, a slider, front door slider, taken by Senriso for a strike. Good velocity on that pitch. And the count now 0-1. Samard always has good movement on his slider, but he has been prone to leaving that over the middle of the plate from time to time. The 0-1 on the way. Check swing on the slider. That one misses low and away in the dirt. Now 1-1. You can close the book on Micah Posey, as Michel Samard has allowed all 3 of his inherited runners to score. Posey's 4 innings, gives up 8 hits, 8 runs. They were all earned. Walked 2, struck out 3. Unless the Quakes are able to really mount a monumental comeback, they'll move to 0-4 on the season against High Desert. Next pitch misses inside. And the count now 2-1. Though it's really too early to start dishing out wins and losses here. Still plenty of baseball to be played. And if the Mavericks can win 9 in a row against the Quakes, I'm sure the Quakes can fight and bring themselves back into this game. It's going to be an uphill climb for them, though. The next pitch swung on and missed, and it's now 2-2 on Senriso. And it looked like he was about a foot away from making contact with that pitch. That was low and out of the zone. Vaughn, coming over from the Texas Rangers organization, played last year in Double-A for the Frisco Rough Riders. There's a 2-2 taken for a ball inside, and the count now full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Still nobody out for the Mavericks here, the bottom of the 5th inning. Mavericks enjoying an 8-0 lead, and enjoying is the correct word. They're having a good time. It's a very loose clubhouse. The guys love coming to the field every day. Well, wouldn't you if you were in the middle of a streak winning 11 out of 13? Ball hit to the right side. Sutton with it, looks the runners back to their bases and throws Senriso out at first. That's the first out for the Mavericks. Senriso hits it off the end of the bat to the right side. Still hit it hard, though. And that'll bring up James Tomlin, the left fielder. Mavericks parent club, the Kansas City Royals, were looking for their 5th consecutive victory, but it didn't come today at the hands of the Milwaukee Brewers. KC lost at home to the Brew Crew, 7-2. Dave Bush over Bobby Keppel in that game. Corey Karski, his 10th home run of the season for Milwaukee. Runners at second and third, 1 out. The first pitch to Tomlin, a slider. That one is taken for a strike, 0-1. The New York Mets continue to roll. 6-1. They win at Skydome, beating a red-hot Toronto Blue Jays team. Tom Glavine the win. And Orange County native Casey Jansen, the loss. He's now 5-6. Meanwhile, Glavine 11-2. Next pitch misses low and in, and the count now a ball and a strike on Tomlin, who, like Juan Senriso, also a Double-A ball player last year. He was in the Minnesota Twins organization, played for the New Britain Rockets. So 1-1. Foul over the Maverick dugout. And the count now a ball and 2 strikes from High Desert left fielder. This game is not representative of the way the series has gone between the Mavs and the Quakes. Mavericks have really had to fight for their victory. And coming into today's game, of the last 8 games the Mavericks have defeated the Quakes, High Desert was trailing in 7 of them. The 1-2 is popped up just in front of the plate. Looks like it's going to be the pitcher Samard, but he gives way to the first baseman Lopez, who makes the play. Pitcher's never supposed to be making that catch, no matter how skilled of a defender they are. And so the infield pop-up will bring Ed Lucas to the plate with 2 outs and runners at second and third. Speaking of the Minnesota Twins, they won at home today. Ho-hum, another dominating outing by Johan Santana. He beat Marmol in that game. Final score is 7-2 in favor of the Twinkies. Phil Nevin is 15th of the year for Chicago. Justin Morneau remains red hot, 19th of the season for Minnesota. First pitch to Lucas is a fastball that misses low, and the count 1-0 on the High Desert infielder. Mavericks sent 10 men to the plate in the second. And Ed Lucas at the plate represents the 8th batter to step into the batter's box here in the bottom of the 5th. Already scored 3 times. 1-0, same pitch, same location, same result. And it's now 2 balls. And no strikes. The Mavericks third baseman out of Dartmouth. Ivy League Player of the Year back in 2004. As DeMar comes home, and that one misses way outside. The count now 3 balls and no strikes. As Ed Lucas showing good patience at the plate. He's been drawing a lot of walks this month. Lucas is now up to his on-base percentage to .311 after it was a little bit lower than that when he was in a slump earlier in the month. The next pitch misses low. That's ball 4. High Desert for the 3rd time this game with the bases loaded. Last time Irving Falu stepped to the plate with the bases loaded, he had a grand slam off of Francisco Rodriguez of the Quakes. That was at a game back here in Adelanto last Thursday night. That was just a laser beam over the right center field wall. So we already saw Falu turn that excellent 6-4-3 double play, and the ball hit into the hole. Well, this is his night, Irving Falu Player Magnet night. We'll see if he can come up with some offensive numbers as well. So far, he's 1 for 3 with an RBI single. Ground ball hit on the end of the bat to the right side. Up with it is Sonny's over to Lopez. And that will do it for the Mavericks here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Looked like Falu tried to pull an outside pitch. However, High Desert, that's around here in the 5th. They scored 3 times. Those 3 runs were coming on 4 hits. There were no errors. 3 men left on base. Now heading to the 6th. 8-0 High Desert. We'll be back after this. Score 8-0 in favor of the High Desert Mavericks. And for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, here in the top of the 6th inning, it's going to be Josh LeBlanc leading things off. He'll be followed by Nate Sutton and Freddy Sandoval, top of the Rancho order. And they've only come up with 1 hit through the first 5 innings against Kyle Critt. As the right-hander rears back, and here's pitch number 64 on the evening, and that's a fastball that misses in. The count 1-0. LeBlanc so far 0 for 2. Popped up on the infield. And hit a bounce down over the third base. Well handled by Lucas, just to the left of the mound. 1-0, 2-seamer. That one in there for a strike, and the count now evened up at 1-1. Maverick outfield straight away. They're just enjoying life right now. This 8-0 lead over the Quakes. Next pitch misses in the dirt, and it's now 2 balls and a strike on LeBlanc. LeBlanc out of Southern A&M. That's a school in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He was a 6th-round draft pick back in 2004 by the Angels. As Chris comes with a 2-1 pitch, that's line to the left side over the leaping Ed Lucas. That's down towards left field wall. LeBlanc on his way around first base. He's into second now, and he'll stop there, putting on the brakes. As Irving Falu comes up with that ball. That's the cutoff man. Josh LeBlanc leads things off with a double here in the 6th inning. That'll bring up Nate Sutton to the plate. Sutton 0 for 2 so far. Got caught looking back in the first. Bounced out to second in the 3rd inning. As he bats from the left side, we'll see if Harold Chris can keep the Quake team off the scoreboard here. In the top of the 6th inning, he's been exceptional with runners on base this year. As he deals from the stretch, the first pitch is lined up the middle. That's a single into center field. LeBlanc going to be waved home, but they're going to test the arm of Juan Senrizo. Finally, he's given the stop sign. Bobby Mitchell knows better than to test the arm of Juan Senrizo in center field. Senrizo second in the league with 9 outfielders hit. Well, the Quakes have runners at the corners with nobody out here in the top of the 6th inning as Freddy Sandoval steps in. Atlanta won today, getting a run on the top of the 11th. They beat the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at Tropicana Field today, 4-3. Only Sosa the win. Chad Harville the loss. Andrew Jones with his 18th home run of the season for the Bravos. Runners on the corners, nobody out. Maverick middle infielders a double play deck. First pitch, the 2-seamer that misses low and in. And the count of ball and no strike. With the Mavericks leading 8-0, no reason to draw the infield in. High Desert just looking to get an out here. That's not always been easy with Sandoval. Batting .365 against the Mavs this year. He fouls the next pitch back to count 1-1. Sandoval has drawn 2 walks today against Chris. 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 4th inning. Meanwhile, Sandoval played at the University of San Diego. The next pitch taken for a ball, low and in the count 2-1. And he was taken in the 8th round back in 2004. In that free agent draft, as many members of both teams were. Not in the 8th round, but back in that 2004 draft. More about that in a minute. The 2-1 on the way to Sandoval. Chopped foul to the right side, and the count now 2-2. Kyle Chris, the pitcher, taken in that 2004 draft. Also in that Quakes roster, taken in that 2004 draft, Frederick Aloysius Carney, Tim Duff, Ben Johnson, Ryan Leahy, Cliff Remley, Freddy Sandoval, Nate Sutton, Josh LeBlanc, Pat Riley, and Drew Toussaint. 2-2 just misses off the corner. That was a 4-seam fastball. And the count now full, 3-2 on the Quake third baseman. Sandoval on the verge of drawing his 3rd walk today. And he has an excellent on-base percentage of .383 on the year. And he calls timeout, steps out of the batter's box. Sandoval been struggling, though, over his last 5. Only 3 for his last 14. It is a 5 runs, 5 RBIs over his last 10. And he swings and misses. And a slider, a backdoor slider from Chris, and that'll be the first out for the Quakes here in the top of the 6th inning. The Sandoval does nothing to move the runners, and that'll bring up Pat Riley to the plate. Riley 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against Chris so far. As he's about to stand in from the left side. Riley batting just .271 against the righties this year. As a lefty, he actually likes hitting against the lefties more. Go to first base, not in time. Riley out of the University of Arizona. And he's from Costa Mesa, California. Southern California. Now the next pitch, Chris tried with a backdoor slider. And that one did not connect with a strike zone. The count now 1-0. In Detroit, the Tigers out-hit the St. Louis Cardinals by a 10-6 count. Justin Verlander over Chris Carpenter in that game. And O'Reilly is fouled off the left side out towards the Hardball Cafe. That one will bounce in the patio area. And look down now, 1-1. Home runs in that Detroit-St. Louis game for St. Louis. Albert Pujols back in the home run count. He's back in the lineup. His first home run since missing a couple weeks with a strained oblique muscle. And that's on home run number 26 on the year. Curtis Granderson, Brandon Inge went deep for the Tigers. The 1-1 misses outside on the changeup. 2 balls and a strike. Riley actually a free agent pickup back in 2004. He was never drafted. Still played his way onto that Orem Owls team last year. That was an Orem team that won the Pioneer League Championship. The next pitch is down to the right side. That one is past the first baseman, Mike Sidolka, into right field. On his way to third base, his son, LeBlanc, scores. And that's an RBI single by Pat Riley. Really a seeing eye single. And gives the Quakes their first run of the game. They still trail, however, by a score of 8-1. And ball just out of the reach of Mike Sidolka, trying to move to his right. Had he gotten there in time, it could have been a double play. Ball was probably hit hard enough. With Sidolka with his momentum carrying him towards the second base bag, probably would have come up with a strong, accurate throw. But enough of that play. Let's talk about what Michael Collins is going to do as he steps in with runners at the corners. And one out here in the top of the 6th. 8-1 in favor of High Desert. Collins back in from the right side. Sending up inside is Donnie. The first pitch, he fouls off of his ankle, and the count now 0-1. Baltimore won today at home against the Washington Nationals. A game with 2 teams. You can call that one the Freeway Series, although you don't call it the Freeway Series. I guess you probably call it the Beltway Series. 2 teams separated by about 50 miles or so. There's the 0-1. Again, Collins fouls that one off of his ankle, and again he's okay. The count now, no balls and 2 strikes. Baltimore 2, Washington 1. Rodrigo Lopez outpitched former Maverick John Patterson. Chris Ray is 19th save. No balls, 2 strikes on the batter. We're going to see if Kyle Chris goes back to that knee-buckling breaking ball of his. As Collins hopes to pick up Sutton from third. Chris peering over, taking too long to get his sign, so Collins steps out. This is a Quakes ball club that is still batting .298 against the Mavericks this year. Against the Mavericks, they have an ERA of just .443. Meanwhile, the Mavericks just a batting average of .262 against the Quakes. And High Desert with a .548 ERA against Rancho, but it's the Mavericks who have won 12 out of the 19 contests. 0-2 to Michael Collins. Donnie sets up just off the plate. The pitch is fouled away to the right side out of play. That was a 2-seam fastball. And it's still 0-2 on Michael Collins. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for the Quakes. 8 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the Mavericks. We're in the top of the 6th inning. In a game that's just slowing down a little bit because the Quakes finally able to sustain a bit of an offensive attack. The 0-2. That one's on the ground to the right, left side, and that's in between the shortstop and the third baseman into left field. Scoring on the play is Nate Sutton. Riley over to second. And that's the 4th hit this inning against Kyle Chris. Rancho still trails this game by a score of 8-2. Collins, good patience at the plate, waits for the pitch that he can handle. And smacks one into the hole in between short and third. So for Collins, that's RBI 44 on the year. And that's going to bring pitching coach Steve Renko out to the mound to have a word with Kyle Chris and see just exactly what's going on. This inning started with a double by Josh LeBlanc. Nate Sutton singled him to third. After a Freddy Sandoval strikeout, Pat Riley singled in LeBlanc, and then Collins singled in Sutton. Meanwhile, Brandon Whedon started to get loose for High Desert. Should this inning start to get a little ugly. But Kyle Chris, as well as he has worked with runners on base this year, he'll be able to bounce out of it. Remember the last time he came out, he had trouble in the 5th inning against the Quakes. Gave up 2 runs to Rancho in that frame. But still started the 6th inning. Chris came away with a victory in that game. That was a game the Mavericks held on to win 7-6, even though they took the 9th inning in the field, leading 7-2 in that game. Meanwhile, Rancho lost that one by 1 run with a tying run at third base. First pitch to Cliff Remily. Slider swung on and missed in the count 0-1. Remily 0 for 1 in this game. Walked in the 2nd inning. And popped out to third baseman Ed Lucas in the 4th. Chris ready once again. And the 0-1 pitch. Curveball. That one into the strike zone, and it's now 0-2 on Remily. Good looking pitch by Chris. Able to keep that one low. And he's now in front of the left-handed hitting designated hitter. Sean Rodriguez stands in on deck. So this is a big out here. He said it for quite some time. You don't want to have to deal with Sean Rodriguez with more than 1 runner in scoring position. But the 0-2 is a fastball that misses up and in. And the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Will an AMR representative please report to the AMR table?
Kyle laboring here in the 6th inning. Trying to get out of the frame of the Mavericks with a sizable lead. And the 1-2 is on the way. That one just misses low. And that one looked like a 2-seam fastball that just could not connect with the strike zone. So the count moved to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 8-2 High Desert. Runners at first and second with 1 out for the Quakes in the top of the 6th inning. He sets up down the middle. The 2-2 with runners going is down to the right side. Sadolka takes it at first. He goes to the bag himself. So both runners will move up 90 feet. That's the equivalent of a sacrifice. So runners now at second and third with 2 outs as Sean Rodriguez steps in.
Shortstop, number 3, Sean Rodriguez.
Rodriguez so far today 0 for 2, and it has not been a productive night at the plate for the California League All-Stars. Rodriguez bounced into a double play and got caught looking on a strikeout in the 5th. Chris hoping to finish up 6 strong innings here. He'd only given up 1 hit coming into this inning, but 4 so far by the Quakes here in the 6th. The first pitch is a fastball that misses low and away, and the count 1-0. First base is open here, so Chris does have the option of working around Rodriguez, even though he has been unproductive recently against the Mavericks. Dildo came into today's game batting .342 with 6 home runs and 15 RBIs against High Desert pitching. The 1-0 is lifted out beyond third base. That Lucas backing up out towards the Maverick bullpen, has a play, makes a catch. And that will do it for Rancho Cucamonga in the top of the 6th inning. For the Quakes, they scored twice. Those 2 runs coming on 4 hits. There were no errors. Runners stranded at second and third. And now heading to the bottom of the 6th inning in Adelanto. 8-2 High Desert. We'll be right back for the Mavericks. There's going to be Perez, Valentino, Sadolka right after this. Stay tuned. Kaiser baseball fans, 8-2 in favor of the Mavericks. We now head into the bottom of the 6th inning. And even though Rancho Cucamonga fell behind early, they're still trying to show some fight here. They come up with 2 in the top of the 6th. And this is the first time we've been able to say, all over the past week and a half, that Rancho Cucamonga has not committed an error through the first 6 innings of work today. Rancho, the 7-game series against High Desert last week, committed 18 errors. And they had 2 more last night before showing some good glove work over the later innings. Nate Sutton, a couple nice plays over at second base. Well, Wilbur Perez leads it off. Wilbur so far today 1 for 3, singled and scored in the 3-run Maverick 5th inning. He pops the first pitch up on the infield. Backing up into the outfield grass is going to be the first baseman, Baltazar Lopez, but he gives way to Nate Sutton, who comes down without one. And there's now 1 out for the Mavericks after just 1 pitch here in the bottom of the 6th.
Number 3, the double play of the game.
So 1 out, nobody on base. That'll bring Geraldo Valentin up. He's 1 for 3 so far. Singled and scored in the 5th inning. Also sent one deep into the gap in the 2nd. But good ground covered by Josh LeBlanc as he moved over and picked that one off. So he's still 1 for 3 as the first pitch is on the way. That one misses outside from Samard, and the count now 1-0. From the windup, the 1-0 pitch is a fastball for a strike on the corner, 1-1. Remember, Mavericks fans, the All-Star break starts Sunday. And when we return on Thursday, the Mavericks going to start a 5-game road trip, all games, out at Lake Elsinore. Next pitch fouled off to the right side, out of play, and the count now 1-2. Quirky scheduling this year in the Cal League. You have that 5-game series at Lake Elsinore. You had some teams ending the first half on Sunday, some ending it on Monday. You had the Mavericks play 27 consecutive days without a day off. The 1-2 to Valentin misses low and away in the dirt, and the call is now 2 balls and 2 strikes. But, well, you know what I say? These guys, these are professionals. And you know what? They wanted to play baseball, and they're very lucky to be playing baseball, so they shouldn't complain. Next pitch is hit off the end of the bat, ground ball to the left side. Bobbling it as short as Sean Rodriguez, and that one just eats him up. Well, there we go, jinxing that Rancho Cucamonga defense. And Sean Rodriguez comes up with his 23rd error of the season. And that will tie him for the most in the California League, along with Rusty Ryle of Lancaster and Reed Brignac of Visalia. We've seen that over and over and over again. If you just keep hitting the ball on the ground, eventually Rancho Cucamonga will make mistakes. And Sean Rodriguez, he's seen him better than that one. So 1 out, runner at first. Setting up inside is Collins. The first pitch is Fedolka. Misses low and inside. Going for second is going to be Valentin. He slides in safely, and that will be a wild pitch. That one misses in the dirt, and immediately when it hits the ground, Fedolka starts pointing over to second base, as indicating, hey, Valentin, get over there as quickly as you can. So Fedolka, good cast into this Maverick team. And he directs traffic on the infield as he now comes up with a runner in scoring position. The count at 1-0 as Samar delivers. And that pitch is a slider for a strike on the inside corner. And the count now moves to 1-1. New York Yankees won today. They beat the Florida Marlins 6-5. Chen-Ming Wang over Brian Moeller in that game. Mariano Rivera's 15th save. Miguel Olivo with his 6th home run of the year. It was a matchup of the World Series a couple years ago. The next pitch misses low. The count is now 2 balls and a strike on Fedolka. Fedolka, another member of the Mavericks lineup with Double-A experience. So his Double-A experience came as a pitcher. The 2-1 taken low, and the count now 3 balls and a strike on the Mavericks first baseman as Tommy Twainiak stands in on deck. High Desert looking to win their 10th consecutive home game. The 3-1 pitch taken for a strike on the outside corner. That was a borderline strike. And Samar gets the call. So the count now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Prior to his home run last night in the 8th inning that tied the game, Sidolka was 0 for 17. Looks like he snapped out of his streak, though. 1 for 2 so far today. He's already scored 2 runs. The 3-2, swung on and tipped just off the glove of Michael Collins. That was on a slider. And so the count stays at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Cavs were really banking hard on Sidolka this month. And he had really started the majority of the game. Only 1 day off this month. And that's why his batting average slipped just a little bit in June. As the next pitch is driven deep down the line. That one trailing foul, however. That one at home run distance. But not within the chalk line, so the count's still 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, because Sidolka got so little time off, and because he is learning hitting once again, it was only natural that his batting average dropped down just a little bit. But boy, he has been one of those contributors in this Mavericks lineup. Who knows where High Desert would be without him. The next pitch is poked foul back against the screen, and the count stays full. Now is the 8th pitch of the attack. Meanwhile, Jeff Kent just hit a 3-run home run for the Dodgers. And the Los Angeles Dodgers now lead the Pittsburgh Pirates 7-0 in the bottom of the 4th. Once again, the count 3-2. Big gap in left center field. Now the next pitch misses low. Ball 4. Good at bat by Sidolka. And the Mavericks now have runners at first and second here in the bottom of the 5th, with 1 out and Tommy Dueñas stepping in.
Designated hitter, number 22, Tommy Dueñas.
Dueñas extended his hitting streak to 7 games with his 5th inning single. Came up with 2 RBIs on the play. He also scored a run back in the 2nd. As he steps in from the right side, Dueñas has now seen his batting average raise 54 points over his hitting streak. DeMart is set. The pitch on the way. This is low and away. And the count now 1-0. World champion Chicago White Sox keep rolling. They beat Houston today in a rematch of the 2005 World Series. 7-4 in favor of the Southsiders. Jose Contreras remains a perfect on the season. He is now 8-0. Andy Pettit has just fallen off the face of the earth. He's now 6-8. Got touched up again in that game. Bobby Jenks' 22nd save. 1-0 to Dueñas. Mitch is low and away, and the count now 2-0. Meanwhile, the Quakes have a left-hander starting to get loose over in the bullpen. We'll let you know who that is in just a moment. Meanwhile, Chris Burke and Lance Berkman with home runs for Houston. Scott Podsednik, his 2nd of the year for the White Sox. Mike Pete, the left-hander, starting to toss over in the Rancho Cucamonga bullpen. Whenever you see that left-hander over there, you always cross your fingers and hope it's Joe Torres. Of course, Torres, over the last 2 years, has given away plenty of games to High Desert. High Desert really is nemesis. This year against the Mavericks, Torres 0-2 with a 27.00 ERA over 2 1/3 innings. He's given up 7 earned runs over that time, 12 runs total. 2-0 to Tommy. DeMart comes home with a fastball swung on and fouled back. That one gets a piece of Tommy's foot. The count now 2-1. Again tomorrow night, going to be another spectacular fireworks display here following the game. That fireworks show presented by Coca-Cola. We're expecting another big crowd here on hand, so you're going to want to buy your ticket from the advanced ticket booth. You're here at the ballpark right now. Next pitch is lined into left center field. That's a base hit into the gap. Rounding third base, coming around to score is going to be Valentine. Being waved home, Sidolka coming around too. By the time the ball is brought home, Tommy Dueñas is second with a stand-up double. 2-run score, and High Desert now leads 10-2. Dueñas having a month to remember for High Desert here. And he comes away with 2 more RBIs. Now 4 on the game for him. And Dueñas has 15 overall on the year as Adam Donahue now steps in. So, well, we talked about it last night. When you lose a game the way you did last night, when the home team scores a tying run in the bottom of the 8th inning, and then rallies for a win in the bottom of the 9th to win that type of nail-biter, well, you kind of have the feeling that Rancho Cucamonga was going to show up today and have everything left on the field from last night. Well, the Mavericks taking advantage of them today. They lead 10-2. Meanwhile, Bobby Mitchell walking slowly out to the mound to have a word, and most likely yanks the Mart out of the game. Yeah, in comes Mike Pete. So we're going to have another tight insurance pitching change. Don't go anywhere, Mavericks fans. We'll be right back on Talk 960 right after this. Well, the Mavericks' quest to beat the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes 500 consecutive times continues. High Desert has racked off 9 wins so far. Still 491 to go, but at this pace, should be there by about the year, 2023. Mike Pete, the newest victim in there for Rancho Cucamonga, as he replaces Michel Simard, who was ineffective in his inning and a third. First pitch to Adam Donnie, taken for a strike on the outside corner, and the count 0-1. Pete on the year, 2-1, a 5.51 ERA. 32 2/3 innings of work. He's walked 21, struck out 15. Opponents batting .291 against him. Next pitch swung on and missed. Blew a fastball with good velocity beyond Donnie, in the count 0-2. So Simard went an inning and a third. Gave up 3 hits, walked 2. Was responsible for 2 runs crossing the plate, though only 1 was earned. And he allowed all 3 inherited runners to score against him in the 5th. The 0-2 to Donnie misses well outside on the curveball. That one really got away from Pete, and the count now a ball and 2 strikes. Pete this year against the Mavericks, now making his 7th entrance against High Desert. He has no record with a 7.00 ERA. Mavericks actually batting .361 against him. The 1-2 pitch. Chopper to the left side. Waiting for it is Rodriguez. He's up with it. The hard throw to first is in time. That will move Duenas over to third. That's the second out here.
Number 14.
In the bottom of the 6th inning, and it'll bring up Juan Senrizo to the plate. Senrizo, 1 for 3 in this game, came up with a bases-clearing triple back in the 2nd. And he came up, Sidolko was at third, Duenas in second, Donnie at first. When he stood on third base, all 3 were back in the dugout. First pitch of Senrizo, a curveball that misses high and away. And the count now 1-0 on the Maverick outfielder. Senrizo from Guayamante in the Dominican Republic. Well, the next pitch is grounded to the left side. That's into the hole in the left field for a base hit. An RBI single for Senrizo scores Duenas, and the Mavericks now lead 11-2. boy, in these types of games, don't you wish that the Mavericks had that air horn like the Inland Empire 66ers did? You just blast that foghorn after every single run and scare the living wits out of everybody in the ballpark. That run will be unearned, though it is charged as Samard. So you can close the book on Michel. Because of 3 runs, one of which was earned in an inning and a third. James Tomlin now the batter. The first Pete offering is taken for a strike in the count 0-1. Meanwhile, for Senriso, that was RBI number 38. He too has 4 tonight. Senriso 4 RBIs. Duenas 4 RBIs. Mavericks getting the job done offensively. The next pitch misses low. The count evened up at 1-1. 11-2 High Desert, bottom of the 6th inning. Things really going from bad to worse for Rancho Cucamonga. The 1-1, a curveball doesn't connect with the outside corner. And it's now 2 balls and a strike. And we'll keep updating you with minor league scores from around the league. So stay tuned for some of those. As the 2-1 pitch. Fastball ground to the right side. Takes 2 hops. It's into Nate Sutton's glove. His play is to first. And he retires Senriso with a throw to Lopez. Well, the Mavericks scored 3 more times in the 6th. Only 1 run was earned. Those 3 runs coming on just 1 hit. Make that 2 hits. There was 1 error and 1 man left on base. We're now heading to the 7th inning. The score 11-2 High Desert, and we'll be right back after this. Chris has come out of this game. Chris went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs. They were earned. Those 2 runs coming on 5 hits.
Number 11, Drew Toussaint.
Chris walked 3, hit a batter, and struck out 6 Quakes. He gives away to Brandon Whedon. First pitch of Drew Toussaint misses inside. The count 1-0. On the year, Whedon has a record of 4-2 and the ERA of 5.13. So 1-0 pitch, hit off the tip of the bat. Toussaint meant to hold up on that one. Looked like he did hold up, but the pitch was inside, and it struck the bat for a foul ball. So 1-1 now. So Whedon in his 47 1/3 innings of work, he struck out 44, walked 18. Next pitch hits him on the shoulder. That was a curveball, just got away from Whedon. That's a mistake. Toussaint tossed on down to first, and that'll bring up Baltazar Lopez to the plate.
First base, number 14.
The runner on first, nobody out. Baltazar Lopez now the batter. And again, not the most productive night at the plate for the first baseman. Struck out swinging in the 3rd, bounced into a double play in the 5th. First pitch from Whedon to Lopez, swung on and missed. Blew a fastball by him, pretty good velocity on that pitch. And the count 0-1. When Whedon's throwing his hardest, he's up at about 91, might even reach 92 miles an hour. and has an excellent curveball. Also, there's a split finger pitch, a sinker that he likes to keep low. The next pitch is rocketed out into the stands to the left side. On the count now, no balls and 2 strikes. Chris, meanwhile, in his 6 innings of work, threw 89 pitches and labored a bit in the 6th inning, but still another quality start for Chris. It's his 7th consecutive start going into the 6th inning. 0-2 swung on and missed. That's a fastball blown right by Lopez. And that represents the first out for the Quakes here in the 7th as Josh LeBlanc steps in. LeBlanc 1 for 3 in this game, doubled and scored in the 6th inning. And was knocked home a couple of batters later by Pat Riley.
Josh LeBlanc.
Lancaster all over San Jose up north today, 10-1. The Jethawks lead the Giants. First pitch to LeBlanc, fouled back against the screen, and the count now 0-1. Bakersfield leading Lake Elsinore 4-1, now in the top of the 6th inning. Visalia leading at Stockton 9-5, and that's a day after Visalia won at Stockton 20-4. The 0-1 to LeBlanc is driven out towards right field. This could be a long run for Valentine. He makes a running catch. A nice catch moving over into the corner. Stuck his left arm out away from his body and pulls that one down. An excellent play by Valentine, covering some ground out there. Toussaint has no choice but to retreat back to first base. And so with 2 outs now, that'll bring up Nate Sun to the plate. Inland Empire leading Modesto 5-1. That game now in the top of the 6th inning. Down in San Bernardino. Whedon's first pitch on the way to Sutton, and that misses well inside. The count now 1-0. High Desert leads this game 11-2. As the next pitch is popped up behind the third base tag, it'll actually be the left field Tomlin moving over. And he makes the count for the final out here in the top of the 7th inning. And again, not much going for the Quakes. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 man left, heading into the bottom of the 7th time to stretch here in Adelanto. Score 11-2 High Desert. We'll be right back after this commercial break. First pitch on the way from Pete to Ed Lucas. Misses low and inside, and the count 1-0. Now in our 16th season of High Desert Mavericks baseball. I'm sure somewhere along the way, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes have a couple of victories against the Mavericks. But not in the last 9 games. Yeah, the next pitch is bounced foul to the left side, out of play. The count now a ball and a strike. Meanwhile, Freddy Sandoval heading back over to third base after retrieving that ball, as Lucas about to stand back out in the dugout. In the batter's box. As Pete rears back. And the 1-1 pitch on the way. That one is popped up to the right of home plate. Above the first baseline, Collins runs over, can't get there in time. He was late trying to get there. That was more than a catchable ball, and that shouldn't have even been the catcher's play. Balthazar Lopez should have been there. He held up at the very end. And again, Rancho Cucamonga's defense continues to let them down. Ned Lucas now with new life here. We'll see if he can take advantage of it. One ball, two strikes. Pete now in his second inning of work. For 2/3 of an inning, back in the sixth, did not allow a run. As the next pitch misses low and away, and the count 2-2. He did allow an inherited runner to score, however, as Dueñas came around on the single by Juan Senrizo. The 2-2 pitch, a chopper to the left side. Takes two hops, waiting for it is Rodriguez. A hard throw to first is low, and just dug out in time by Balthazar Lopez. Very close play over at first, but Lucas is retired. Lucas always going to hustle. He got down the line quickly. And there's now one out for High Desert. Here in the bottom of the seventh inning. That's going to bring up Irving Falu to the plate. Falu on Irving Falu player magnet night is 1 for 4 so far, but turned a nifty double play earlier in the game on defense. First pitch from Pete, check swing, taken for a strike on the outside corner. And it's now 0-1 on the Mavericks shortstop. The 0-1 pitch from Pete misses away, and the count now 1 ball and 1 strike. Falu out of Hato Rey in Puerto Rico. Had to play a couple of years of junior college ball before moving on to the Royals minor league system. The 1-1 pitch is taken low and away, and the count 2-1. He's actually teammates with Geraldo Valentin back at Indian Hills Community College. That was in Iowa. There's the 2-1 pitch is bounced down the third baseline, backhanded nicely by Sandoval from foul territory. The throw to first is in time. An excellent play by Freddy Sandoval. His momentum carrying him away from the first base bag. Threw that one all the way across the infield. The throw brought the first baseman Balthazar Lopez to the foul territory side of first base. But he made the catch. And that beat the speeding Irving Falu down the line. An excellent play. That could have gone for 2 bases against most teams. But we've been impressed by Sandoval's work over at third base. The first pitch to Wilber Perez, taken away, and the count 1-0. The Quakes don't have good defense, and we've made that point clear throughout the last 2 weeks or so. But Sandoval is impressive at third, and Nate Sutton has been impressive at second as well. The next pitch misses outside, and the count 2 balls and no strike. Sean Rodriguez at short has been inconsistent. And more often than not, he's been ugly rather than effective. He can make diving stops, gets the balls in the hole, but really skips a lot of throws over to first base. The next pitch is tapped to the left side. A chopper charging it is Sandoval. The throw to first base is just in time. Wilber Perez out by an eyelash over at first, and he's arguing the call of the umpire. Well, that ends quickly, as does the Mavericks' 7th inning. For High Desert, they sent 3 Cadbers and really make the Rancho Cucamonga defense work for those. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left. All balls into the left side of the infield. We now head into the 8th. The score is 11-2 High Desert, and we'll be right back after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere, Mavericks fans. Stay tuned. Patrick Hicklin now making his second relief appearance of the year. He misses upstairs to Freddy Sandoval. The count 1-0. Hicklin on the season, 0-5 and 8.71 ERA, 7 games, 6 starts. He's worked 31 innings this year. The 1-0 pitch misses inside, and the count now 2-0. Hicklin in his 31 innings has struck out 21, walked 10. Opponents are batting .326 against him. Meanwhile, Joe Torres getting loose for the Quakes over on the right field line. The 2-0 misses up and away, and the count 3 balls and no strikes. Hicklin out of the University of Tennessee. And he actually graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Kinesiology from Tennessee as the next pitch is taken for a strike on the corner. And it's now 3-1. Hicklin out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. As the 3-1 pitch is on the way, and that misses upstairs. That's ball 4. So Sandoval draws the leadoff walk. That's his third bases on balls today. And that'll bring up the left fielder, Pat Riley. Meanwhile, today's attendance, 2,664. Another excellent crowd here in Adelanto, the Mavericks and the Quakes. Thank you so much for your continued patronage. We continue to fill up this stadium now in our 16th year of baseball in the desert. The next pitch fouled back against the screen. And the count 0 balls and 1 strike on Pat Riley. Against the Quakes this year, Hicklin has made 1 appearance. It was a start early in the season, went 5 innings, gave up 5 runs, earned a no decision, but struck out 7 Rancho batters. The 0-1 misses way upstairs. And the count now 1 ball and 1 strike. Again tomorrow night is another fireworks night here in Adelanto. Tickets still available, but good seats are going fast. The 1-1 fouled off the left side out of play. The count now 1 ball and 2 strikes on Riley. There's some more major league scores to update you with. A lot of Angel fans out there. Well, the Angels leading the Arizona Diamondbacks 8-2 in the 8th inning. Of course, the Angels, the parent club of the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. Hicklin, 1-2 pitch. Slider bounced into the Rancho dugout. Actually hits the top of the dugout and bounces into the stand. The count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes on Pat Riley. (11-2) High Desert leads this game in the top of the 8th inning. Nobody out, runner on first. He's not held on. Next pitch, another slider. That one bounced to the right side again. Riley staying alive here, fighting off with some Hicklin breaking pitches before waiting for one that he liked. Texas won today at Coors Field. The Rangers 8, the Rockies 6. John Karanka the win, Jeff Francis the loss. Hakinora Atsuka's 15th save. Mark Teixeira, Hank Blaylock home run. But a bit of a whack out there. The next pitch is swung on and missed. And Riley strikes down. He now has his bat on top of his head, looking up towards the sky, and he's just frustrated, and there's no surprise there. Rancho Cucamonga just having an awful stretch of baseball. And they came in today having lost 10 of their last 11 games. Meanwhile, Teixeira only his 7th home run this year for Texas. Blaylock only has 11. Still Texas will hit him out of the ballpark with the best of any team in the league. Michael Collins now at the plate. He's 1 for 2. Is also hit by a pitch. The first pitch, a fastball in there for a strike, 0-1. Hicklin pounding the strike zone with that pitch. It's a good hard fastball located low in the zone. Wind still blowing out to left, though not quite as hard as it was earlier in the game. As the 0-1 swung on and kicked into the glove of Donnie. And that was another good offering from Hicklin. Another hard fastball low in the zone. And the count, no balls and 2 strikes on Michael Collins. Another warm evening out in the desert. The game time temperature, 95 degrees. As the 0-2 swung on and missed on the slider, and Hicklin now has 2 consecutive strikeouts. And they're allowing Sandoval to reach on the bases of balls. So Cliff Remily now the batter.
Number 19, Cliff Remily.
Remily 0 for 2 in this game. Popped out to third base. Also bounced out to first. That was back in the 6th inning. as Hicklin looks to keep the Quakes off the scoreboard in the 8th. The first pitch is a slider that misses low and in. The count 1 ball and no strikes on the designated hitter. Seattle, San Diego tied up at 1 in the bottom of the 8th. Oakland, San Francisco tied up at 2 in the top of the 8th. The 1-0 line to the left side foul. On the count now 1 ball and 1 strike on the left-handed hitting Cliff Remley. Mavericks won the season series from the Quakes last year and hoping to do it again this year. So far, the Mavericks have won 12 out of the 19 games they've played against Rancho, including the last 10. The next pitch, diving stop by Lucas over at third, but he just keeps that one on the infield. An excellent move to get over there by Lucas. And knocks it down with a diving stop at that one. He really had no play, so reaching first with an infield single was Remley. That moves Sandoval to second. Runners at first and second as Sean Rodriguez steps in. No balls, no strikes. The first pitch to Rodriguez, a fastball that misses low, 1-0. Mavs have been doing a good job with Rodriguez recently. 0 for 3 tonight. He grounded into a double play, also struck out and popped out on a foul out with runners at second and third and 2 outs in the 6th. So 1-0. A chopper to the left side, and now it's going to be handled in foul territory by Ed Lucas, with the count evened up at 1-1. Meanwhile, yesterday Rodriguez was 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. And then when you look back on Sunday afternoon in Rancho Cucamonga, Rodriguez 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. So Sean 0 for his last 12 against the Mavericks. Has the 1-1, a fastball. Strike on the outside corner. And the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes on the Rancho infielder. Again, 11-2. High Desert leading this game. In the top of the 8th inning in Adelanto, California. The 1-2 pitch. That one misses. It goes all the way back to the backstop. And both runners will advance, and that's going to be a wild pitch. Charge to Hicklin. So over to third goes Sandoval. To second goes Remley. And it's all evened up. Deuces wild on Sean Rodriguez. This was a situation when he came up 2 innings ago. Second and third, 2 outs. He popped out on a foul out that time. We'll see if Hicklin can retire him here. The 2-2. That one misses up and in. And Donnie actually lets go of that ball by the time it gets to him. Popped out of his glove, but he keeps it in front of him. So the count now is 3 balls and 2 strikes as Drew Toussaint stands in on deck. The full count offering is hit on the ground up the middle. Ellen's taken by Falu, spins around, the throw to first, bounces, and it's dug out by Sedolka. Another jaw-dropping play by Irving. Falu, he just makes those plays left and right, makes them look so easy. At strands runners at second and third, John Rodriguez now 0 for 4 today, and the Mavericks going to take at least a 9-run lead into the 9th inning. Now we're heading to the bottom of the 8th, 11-2 High Desert. Don't go anywhere, Mavericks fans. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned. welcome back, kind of baseball fans. And we're now going into the bottom of the 8th inning. Geraldo Valentin leading it off for the new Rancho Cucamonga pitcher, Joe Torres. The left-hander's first pitch, a fastball for a strike in the count, 0-1. Torres on the year, 2-2, a 6.08 ERA, 26 2/3 innings of work, 30 strikeouts, so 36 walks. Next pitch misses well outside, and the count now evened up at 1-1. Joe Torres replaces Mike P to win a scoreless 1 2/3, though he did give up a hit and allowed his inherited runner to score. But Torres really the work in progress, and it's been that way for quite some time for the Angels. The next pitch is fouled off to the right side, and it's 1-2 on Valentin. The Joe Torres we know is the Joe Torres who enters the game and will walk a couple batters, give up a base hit, and then be removed without having gotten it out. Now, he is in a much different set of circumstances here in this game, with the Mavericks leading 11-2. The next pitch misses low and away, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Against Ty Desert this year, Torres 0-2 at 27.00 ERA. He has issued 14 walks to the Mavericks. You heard me correct, 14 walks in 2 1/3 innings. As the next pitch is bounced foul to the left side, the count remains at 2-2. Torres, the number 1 ranked prospect in the Angel system. He was a first-round draft pick way back in 2000 for the Angels. The 2-2 pitch is a chopper to the left side. Charging that one as short as Sean Rodriguez. He's up with it to throw to first in time. 1 out. And again, that was just the 8th out this year that Joe Torres has been able to record against Ty Desert. And that comes with those 14 walks. So he's now going to work against Mike Sidolka in the lefty versus lefty matchup. As Torres looks in, he has his sign. Left-hander rears and fires, and the next pitch misses inside. The count 1-0. Torres, born in the Bronx, in New York City, and then he moved to Kissimmee, Florida. As a 1-0, taken up and in for a ball as well. The count now 2 balls and no strikes. Torres' 2-0 pitch. Fastball down the heart of Broadway. 2 balls and 1 strike now on Sidolka. For the Quakes in this game, 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. For the Mavericks, 11 runs on 12 hits and no errors. Mavericks trying to pick up another victory for Kyle Chris as the next pitch is driven deep out to left center field. Going back on the ball is Riley. He's got the warning track and makes a running catch on the warning track. That one almost at home run distance. Just didn't look like a home run when it left the bat. It didn't have that home run sound. Didn't have that smack off the bat. So there are now 2 outs for the Mavericks here in the 8th as Tommy Dueñas steps in. Meanwhile, in other games that are final around the Major League, Cincinnati Reds won this evening's edition of the Battle of Ohio. Cincinnati 3, Cleveland 0. That was at Jacobs Field. Aaron Harang the win, Jake Westbrook the loss. No home runs in that contest. First pitch to Dueñas. Fouled back, the count 0-1. Dueñas today, 2 for 3. 4 RBIs, a single, a double. He's now hit in 7 consecutive games. And he has played himself onto the starting lineup. A nice designated hitter. The 0-1 pitch from Torres is bounced down the third baseline. That's off the glove of Freddy Sandoval. That was a fair ball after it hit Sandoval's glove, bounced into foul territory. That is a single for Tommy Dueñas. Now 3 for 4 today. And that will bring up Adam Donahue to the plate. Donahue, meanwhile, 2 for 3. Singled and scored in the second. Doubled in the fifth. Bounced down to the sixth. He also drew a walk back in the third inning. Boston won at home today. They beat Philadelphia 10-2. Josh Beckett getting the win in that one. Ryan Madsen the loss. Chase Utley the home run for Philadelphia. First pitch on the way to Donahue, and that was a curveball for a strike on the inside corner, 0-1. Meanwhile, for Boston, Manny Ramirez with 2 home runs. Gabe Kapler out of Taft High School in Woodland Hills comes up with a home run as well. The 0-1 to Donahue misses all the way back to the backstop on the way to second. It's Tommy Dueñas. That's a wild pitch. And Donnie really had to scoot back away from that one. Otherwise, that one might have bruised his ankle a little bit. The runner now on second base with 2 outs. And the count at 1 ball and 1 strike on the Maverick catcher. High Desert leads 11-2 here. The bottom of the 8th inning. High Desert hoping for a Fury sweep tomorrow, it's going to look like. The Mavericks feed the Quakes up and down the field over the last couple weeks. The 1-1 to Donnie, check swing. And he went around. That goes for a strike as the count now 1-2 on the Mavericks backstop. With a 2-for-3 effort, Donnie has raised his average to 276. 1-2. Torres tries with a backdoor slider, now and misses away. So the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Still 2-2 between the A's and the Giants. At AT&T Park, in San Diego and Seattle still tied at 1. Now in the 9th inning, it's Petco. Next pitch, half foul, back towards the screen, and the count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Last year, Joe Torres, over 20 innings, at an 18.00 ERA for Rancho Cucamonga. And that's somewhat difficult to do. He walked 31 batters in those 20 innings. Allowed 43 runs, 40 of which were earned. The next pitch is bounced foul towards the Maverick dugout. The count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mavericks have a reliever getting loose over in the pen. Let you know who that is in just a moment. Looks like that's Greg Atencio starting to get loose. Meanwhile, it's 2-2 on Donnie. Torres comes home, and that pitch misses inside, goes all the way to the backstop. On his way to third is Tommy Dueña. So there's a Joe Torres we know. 2 wild pitches, and this is back to Adam Donnie. And all of a sudden, the runner who was on first base is now standing in at third. And Donnie has a chance to make this game into even more of a lapper than it already is. Again, the Mavericks with an 11-2 lead. The Mavs with 5 in the bottom of the 2nd, 3 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th. Next pitch misses low and away. Donnie draws the walk, and that'll bring up Juan Senrizo to the plate. Senrizo also having another good night at the plate. He's 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Triple back in the 2nd inning, driving in 3. Singled in a run in the 6th. Juan has already spent some time up in Double-A this year. Hit a home run for the Wichita Wranglers before coming on back to High Desert. Meanwhile, Torres set at the belt. The first pitch on the way to Senrizo misses low for a ball. The count 1-0. Angels still leading 8-2 over Arizona. Meanwhile, former Rancho Cucamonga Quake Mike Napoli now with his 8th home run of the year for the Halos. Napoli played for Rancho back in 2004. The 1-0. Fastball for a strike on the outside corner. That's about the best located pitch we've ever seen Joe Torres throw. And the count now 1-1. Torres, when he's throwing strikes, has a lot of movement on his pitches. Has a good slider, but he can't throw strikes. Next pitch fouled off on the changeup to the right side, and the count now 1-2 on Senrizo. On deck for High Desert is James Tomlin. Dueña from third, Donnie from first. 2 outs here, bottom of the 8th inning. Mavericks leading by 9. 1-2 to Senrizo. Misses up and away, and the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. California League, Carolina League All-Star Game. Going to take place Tuesday afternoon in Salem, Virginia. The 2-2 pitch, broken bat, Looper over to the right side. That'll bounce for a fair ball and rattle around in the Quakes bullpen. 1 run across for the Mavericks, and being held at third is going to be Donnie. And in a closer game, Donnie would have been sent home, but no need to run up the score, says manager Jeff Carter. And Joe Torres Did not make it out of this 8th inning without getting up a run. Dueñas scores on that double by Juan Senrizo. So Senrizo now just a home run short of the cycle. As Donnie moves to third, and High Desert now leads this game 12-2. James Tomlin now the batter. He's 1 for 4 in this game, an RBI double back in the second. Also came around to score on the Irving Falu single 2 batters later. Torres' first pitch, a check swing. That one goes for a strike on a changeup on the corner. And the count now 0-1 on the Maverick left fielder. Donahue from third, Senrizo from second. Torres comes home, and the pitch misses well outside on the fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Visalia leading Stockton 11-5. That game now heading into the 9th inning at Banner Island. Lancaster leading San Jose 10-1. That game also heading into the 9th. The next pitch misses well outside again, and Michael Collins takes a couple of steps out in front of home plate to throw that ball back to Torres. We've seen that a lot. Torres misses arm side an awful lot. And Michael Collins really having to break out a sweat just to keep some of these pitches from going back to the screen. The 2-1 misses away again. The count 3 balls and a strike to Tomlin. As Ed Lucas stands in on deck. Torres' 3-1 pitch misses high and away. That's ball 4. So Tomlin takes first base, and the bases are loaded yet again for High Desert. Tomlin on first, Enrico on second, Donahue on third. Eric Bennett, the pitching coach, now heading out to the mound to have a word with Torres. And really, for Rancho Cucamonga, this is just like sticking the dagger in and just twisting it around a little bit. Of course, no lead is really safe at this ballpark, but you could have said this game was over after the 5th inning. The Mavericks were up 8-0. But now it's just kicking this ball club while they're down. And Joe Torres just cannot throw a strike out there. James Tomlin stands in first on second. Senrizo, Donahue at third, and Lucas now the batter. Had 1 for 3 so far in this game. Has a chance to pad his RBI stat. First pitch from Torres. Check swing. That one misses low. Gets away from the catcher Collins. And Donahue's not going to try and run home in the game as the Mavericks lead by 10 runs. There's no bad blood between these two teams. There's no reason to create any by trying to get with some aggressive base running here. High Desert leads 12-2. Time was called by Lucas as he now steps out of the box. Meanwhile, the count 1-0 in the Maverick left fielder. Irving Falu waiting in on deck. The 1-0. Swung on and missed. The ball gets away from Collins, but again, holding at third base is going to be Adam Donahue. So the count now evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Mavericks fans want to remind you, if you want to make it to the July 4th game, fireworks spectacular, 4th of July celebration against the Lancaster Jethawks. You want to call a Maverick ticket representative. The next pitch misses upstairs, 2-1. Again, tickets still available for that game, as well as all Mavericks home games the rest of the year, by calling 760-246-MAV. The 2-1 to Tomlin, or I should say to Lucas. Chopped to the left side, charges the ball. Sandoval gloves it. And the throw to first is in time. Looked like Lucas stumbled while running over to first base. And he thought he had fouled that one off of his foot. And, well, he doesn't get the call, so Lucas out over at first base. He wasn't going to add any more runs over there. So that's going to do it for the Mavericks here in the 8th inning. No run, 1 run coming across for the Mavericks. That 1 run coming on 2 hits. There were no errors and 3 men left on base. We're now heading into the 9th. 12-2 High Desert. Don't go anywhere, Mavericks fans. We'll watch the Mavericks close it out with Greg Atencio on the hill coming up right after this. was not Greg Atencio coming in to throw for High-Desert. It's still Patrick Hicklin on the mound. Hicklin trying to finish this game up as the Mavericks have a 12-2 lead. The first pitch to Drew Toussaint is taken for a strike 0-1. Toussaint 1 for 2 on the day. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. And the Mavericks smooth sailing all game long. They took a 5-0 lead in the second, never looked back. Next pitch, a strike on the outside corner. Good-looking slider by Hicklin, and the count 0-2. Mavericks led 8-0 before the Quakes first reached the scoreboard. When the Quakes came up with 2 in the top of the sixth, the Mavericks answered with 3 in the bottom half of the inning. Next pitch, a slider, bounced foul to the left side. And the count stays, no balls and 2 strikes. So it's 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for Rancho, 12 runs, 14 hits, and no errors for High-Desert. Hicklin's 0-2. Slider again, fouled back against the screen. We'll do it all over again. The 0-2. Fouled away again to the right side, out of play. And the count stays in the favor of the Mavericks pitcher. That was the 5th pitch of this at bat. They've all been striked by Hicklin. He's been peppering the strike zone. Toussaint is fighting it off, waiting for a pitch that he can handle. Hicklin working from the stretch with nobody on base. He delivers the 0-2 pitch. That one's bounced to the left side. Lucas scoops it up at third. The throw across the diamond in time. And the Mavericks now just 2 outs away from victory in this lopsided contest. Baltazar Lopez going to step in. He's 0 for 3 on the day. 2 strikeouts. He's also bounced into a double play. He came into the game batting just .222 against the Mavericks this year. As Hicklin now peers in. Gets his sign from Donahue. And the first pitch on the way to Lopez. This is low and inside on the fastball. The count now 1-0. Inlet Empire now leading Modesto 6-1 after 7 innings of play at Arrowhead Credit Union Park. The 1-0 pitch fouled back. The count now evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike on Lopez. Again, Mavericks fans, you want to come out tomorrow to the fireworks night here. Going to want to call the Maverick ticket office, 760-246-MAV, 246-6287. The 1-1, fouled back again, and the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes on Baltazar Lopez. After the All-Star break, which is Sunday through Wednesday, Mavericks a 5-game series at Lake Elsinore, and they will have a 6-game homestand, 3 games against the Jethawks, 3 more against the Lake Elsinore Storm. After that, it's back up north. Next pitch hit on the ground to the left side. Bobbled by Irving Falu. My goodness, Irving Falu made an error. We'd love to give him a hit there. But Irving Falu deserves an error. That's the first error he has made in the month of June. That's going to lower the fielding percentage just a little bit. Irving Falu came into this game the fielding percentage of .972. That was the highest amongst any shortstop in the league. Josh LeBlanc now the batter, hitting it the runner at first and 1 out. First Hicklin pitch is a ground ball to the right side. This could end it. It's going to be Perez. He flips it to Falu. The return throw to first is safe. Ooh, not in time. Very close play, but LeBlanc hustles down the line. And that's going to prolong this game. It looked like Perez just had a little bit of trouble getting it out of his glove near the second base tag. As Nate Sutton steps in, Mavericks want to retire Sutton and end this game. Sutton 1 for 4 so far today. The first pitch from Hicklin on the way. That one misses low and in, and the count now 1-0. Mavericks hoping to move to 3-2 on the second half and bring their home winning streak to 10 games, including a 10-game winning streak over Rancho. Next pitch misses away. And the count now 2 balls and no strikes. Mavericks would move to 42-33 overall on the season. Rancho Cucamonga going to fall to 33-42. The 2-0 to Sutton. Hit on the ground to the right side. 2 hops. Perez over to Sidolka, and this game's over. Mavericks fans have a lot to cheer about. A 10-game winning streak against Rancho Cucamonga. A 10-game home winning streak. And High Desert wins this one easily. 12-2. And we'll be right back with the news and notes, scores and stats, and a Cal League update right after this. Stay tuned. Well, for High Desert, it's now 10 consecutive wins over the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. And now a 10-game winning streak at home as High Desert improves to 42-33 overall in the year, 3-2 here in 3-2 here in the second half. Meanwhile, Rancho Cucamonga, they fall to 33-42 overall and 1-4 in the second half. And this game wasn't even close from the outset. Mavericks take this one by a 12-2 count. Line scores for the visitors: 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. For the Mavericks, 12 runs on 14 hits with 1 error. Winning pitcher is Kyle Chris. He's now 4-1 on the season. The loss goes to Micah Posey. Posey now 2-9, leading the league in losses. Crowd of 2,664 on hand. Time of the game, 2 hours and 45 minutes. And the only reason it took that long was because, well, Joe Torres came into the game later. Whenever Torres comes in, he has trouble throwing strikes, and that slows the game down just a little bit. Well, the Mavericks find any way to defeat the Quakes that they can. Usually it had been the come-from-behind victories entering to tonight's game. 7 of their last 8 victories against the Quakes. The Mavericks had been trailing at some point or another. But today, the Mavericks, really, there was no doubt from the second this game really got started. Mavericks 5 in the bottom of the second, 3 more in the bottom of the 5th inning. Quakes came up with 2 in the top of the 6th to make it an 8-2 game. And the Mavericks responded with 3 more in the bottom of the 6th and added an insurance run, if you want to call it that, at the bottom of the 8th inning. And came away with a 12-2 victory, running away with it. So it's time for the Aloha Liquidation Systems player of the game. And that's going to go to Tommy Duenas, the Mavericks' designated hitter. Duenas, another productive night at the plate. Tommy goes 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs. 2 runs scored. 3 runs scored makes that. And also had a double. He extends his hitting streak to 7 games. So Tommy Duenas, another one of the reasons the Mavericks have come away with such an excellent month of June. Mavericks now 17-5 in June. And Duenas has been that catalyst. And he doesn't only do it with hitting the ball. He does it also defensively. Duenas has thrown out 52% of base stealers. They hardly even wanted to run against him today. And Duenas, aside from what he does on the field, it's also what he does off the field that makes the Mavericks such a successful team. Duenas is really one of the team leaders on this team. If you had to think of the team captains on this Mavericks squad, you think of Mike Sidolka, you think of Mike Gaffney, and you also think of Adam Donahue and Tommy Duenas. And those are the guys that really been around for a while and getting the job done. And also big, strong forces in the clubhouse. And Tommy Duenas, you can't say enough about what he has added to this 2006 Mavericks team. It has absolutely not gone unnoticed. It's also time for the High Desert Kia key hit of the game. I want to give a shout-out to Juan Senrizo here, too. Juan Senrizo, another excellent night at the plate. He snapped his mini slump. And Senrizo today just a home run short of the cycle. He finishes 3 for 5. And that was a 3-run triple in the second inning. Senrizo, for that triple, it came with the bases loaded. Sidolka, Duenas, and Donahue scored on that play. And that put the Mavericks up 3-0. That came with nobody out in the second inning. And so Juan Senrizo comes away with the High Desert Kia key hit of the game. And Senrizo just, every time he comes up and hits the ball, he just hits it hard, he puts it into play. And again, that was a triple off the center field wall. Mavericks just barely missed out on their third grand slam in the past 9 days. Well, that's just about going to do it for us up here in the press box in Adelanto. I want to remind you that tomorrow is the final game before the All-Star break. Tomorrow also happens to be my birthday, so if you want to come up and wish me a happy 25th, come stop by the press box at some point tomorrow, or just yell into my field mic. Starting on my birthday tomorrow, it's going to be left-hander Danny Christensen for High Desert. He's 1-5 with a 5.75 ERA. He'll be countered by right-hander Fernando Rodriguez, who is 6-3 with a 4.20 earned run average. Again, that game is starting at 7:05 p.m. Pre-game show starts at 7 and can be heard live on Talk 960 in the Victor Valley, as well as www.hdmavs.com from computer sets worldwide. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who helped make this broadcast a success. Thank you to everybody back in our Talk 960 Clear Channel studios in Victorville. Thank you to Roxanne Scafidi, to Joe Pagano, Jeremy Watson, Barb, Stan, everybody that helps put these games together. An excellent job once again for our Clear Channel folk. Big thank you as well goes to Jack Tucker, official scorekeeper, Bob Bowen, California League historian, Marianne Bowen, because I forgot to thank her last time. Let's get a high five up here, up high. There we go. Big thank you, too, to Rob Sinclair, play-by-play broadcaster for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. Well, the Mavericks going to try to make it 11 straight in a row at home tomorrow and 11 straight over the Quakes. Until then, I'm John Rosen, the voice of the Mavs. Enjoy your Friday night, everybody. Have a great evening. So long. Bye-bye.